breaking walls. No quotas, just pure might, shining through every fight.
And I am so excited for what we're going to be hearing today. And before we go into that, I know we've talked about the weather and all, but how have you been during the week? You know, we do this, we check on ourselves, check if you've been in the yellow zone or whatever zone you have been in. I've been in the yellow zone for quite some time. Even though something happened that almost shook my yellow, almost made my yellow orange or brown. But we're here, we are still pushing and moving. So does anybody want to tell us how you are feeling in the moment right now?
Gbenga Olorunfemi. Gbenga Olorunfemi is a seasoned management consultant and social entrepreneur with expertise in business development, process improvement, and STEM education advocacy. With over a decade of experience in training and consulting, he's facilitated numerous corporate sessions, retreats, and strategy meetings for organizations globally. As a seasoned trainer, researcher, and learning facilitator, Gbenga promotes digital learning, school safety, and productivity. He's passionate about inspiring change and maximizing potential. Through his work, Gbenga aims to make a lasting impact on individuals, organizations, and institutions, driving growth and excellence. He will be speaking at Power Mom Support Circle on building resilient businesses, strategies for adapting to change and uncertainty. Click link in bio to sign up now. This program is brought to you by Power Moms Africa.
But it's very, very good to be here. And then I must confess that when I listened to that intro for the first time, you won't believe who sent it to me. It was my father that sent it to me. I don't know who shared it with him because he's not on Instagram. And then he sent it to me and told me he listened to it, and in his mind, he's wondering, She Emini professor, he said it in Yoruba, Abiwo. So that's for people that don't speak Yoruba. He was asking me if he is actually the professor or I am. So, and in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. That even some of the things they are saying too, I feel very buttered and gassed up. But the only thing that I know is that as I speak to you, I just got back from a retreat that I'm doing for an organization in Lakoe about, in fact, less than 30 minutes ago. So that's all I can say about that. But it's good to be here. There's a lot of it's good to be here. There's a lot of things about women coming together that I'm sure women themselves do not know as much. That's the truth. It's difficult. In fact, women do not know that the 55% of the highest paying jobs today, when it comes to 9 to 5, is in the hands of women. All globally, women succeed more in business than men. But a lot of times women second guess themselves, say they don't know. But the real issue for this is because women are usually very comfortable too being small scale pop and mom businesses. The difference between men and women in business is that men usually are very eager to scale up. And so when scaling up works, the men are the ones that deliver on the unicorn. But half of the time, you know, it's like the story of the pilot. He doesn't make the news for every time that he lands properly. He only makes the news when there's a crash. So that's also, it's the opposite in business. We only hear of the ones that succeed. We never really hear anything about the ones that that fails. And that's what happens most times. A lot of these businesses, just don't happen, and nobody talks about it. So I don't know if you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
I didn't show my face earlier on. Maybe I'll show my face towards the tail end. I hope it's not a problem.
It's fine, sir. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I just go back and I have 5 dogs. So there might be a bit of interference. Anybody that keeps dogs understand the way they are. They are angry that I didn't say hi to them. I just walked in. It's like having a toddler in the house. I know this program has been on for a couple of weeks. So in all sincerity, I do not know what I'm coming here. I was telling Arinola yesterday, what I'm coming here to tell you guys that you guys have not heard. I don't know really what I'm coming here to say to you guys that you guys have not heard. But Arinola said that it's fitting, hearing and hearing again. But I don't want to assume that everybody here already owns a business. I believe some people here are probably trying to own a business. So for people that are trying to own a business, I need them to just write out about 6 things or 5 things. Even for you that you already have your business, it might be good for you to just, let's start with that. These 6 or 7 things that you might use as a checklist to understand where you are. You understand? So the first is, what business am I in? The essence of this question for someone that wants to start is to determine what type of business and why did you select it. And then for the business to work, you need to understand what you need. Is it people or equipment? So let's leave that as 1. 2 is, what are my target markets? Will it be male? Will it be female? For example, on this side, I have a sports shop in the mall, in Sule Mall. It's strictly for men. It wasn't something I really wanted to do. But over time, people will tell me, I like your trainers. I like your trainers. They don't understand that it's because I have a big foot that I wear trainers. Oh, so you understand? I like your trainers. Where did you buy it? Oh, and then I'm a sports fan. So I usually have jerseys. I like your jersey. So after some time, I made a business out of it. And it's been thriving for like 12 years now. So but if I say I want to sell female things, I might not do as well, because it's not my forte. But when it comes to issues of sports, joggers, sweatshirts, trainers, I just have an eye for the nice ones. So there are a lot of people that just will want me to select for them. So it's important to determine what kind of business, target market, how old will they be, what age range. I don't do for kids, for example, now, because I do premium brands. Usually people that have big foot, when they see their size, they don't price. So you might come to my shop now, I'm sure you find it difficult to believe that people wear size 52, size 48, size 47, 59. You understand? But for us that were like 6-footers, we understand that people have those kind of legs. But the average woman probably hears things like just size 40, 41. And that's where it ends. But people that wear size 52, that's the truth. Then pricing. It's important to understand how you're pricing. And then when you move away from pricing, you now talk about customer service policy. 5 is personal policy, which is like your HR policy. And then finally, how do you advertise? So having said all of that, that's just for people that want to get into business. Write those 6 things down. How do you scale those things? If you're already in business, ask yourself too, have I answered these questions? If you have answered that question, then we can get to the business of the day. So now, talking about the business of the day, everybody here, I assume, runs a business. And the question to really ask yourself, what is the what? What is the birth of my business? That's the question to ask yourself. What is the birth of my business? Want to see that. Aha. What is the birth of my business? The birth of everybody's business is that thing that people complain about. Oh, their food is good. Oh, the service is nice. But, and more often than not, the things that lead to those buts is because people don't put in structure. I know someone has spoken about structure, or someone is coming to talk about structure. So I will not go really into details about structure. But it's important for us to have a process. And you're not just having a process. How easy is it? administration must be easy. You know, sometimes it's just two people, but the fact that it's two people does not mean you shouldn't have a process. Feedback is the food of champions. There must be feedback. Feedback is the food of champions. I'll give a simple example. In my office yesterday, one of my staff called me because we run a business consulting firm. We recruited for an organization. So they called us back to tell us that, okay, the person we recruited, the person is good, but that's not the person they really want. They want someone higher. You know, from what they have said, they have not said sack that person or terminate that person's appointment. They just said, so in my mind, I felt that we needed to recruit someone else for them. Now we are recruiting someone else. They are telling my staff that, and so this other person has to go since they now prefer the other person. I was now telling my staff that the real issue is that you did not go through the process when you were dealing with them. If not, what they are saying, when you had a meeting with them, should have been put in an email. And if you were put in an email, we won't have an issue, because now the person that you want to go, today is already 14th of November. When is the person going to do the handover? When is the person going to get paid or not going to get paid? And then who is going to make up for that payment? The organization or us? So you have to write them a comprehensive mail that after the meeting, there was no email saying that this is when you needed person to hand over. But my point is that if the process is simple, if they are followed process and the process is simple, all of this won't happen. Payroll might not be an issue when you are papa and mom and you are small, but payroll is a big issue as you grow older. Accounting too. If you are papa and mom, it might not be a big issue, but it's always important to have a book. Bookkeeping is important. Record your stocks. Record what is about to expire. What is, it's important for records. The book can remember what the brain can't remember. And then logistics. Even your forms. Sometimes because of tech now, we behave like everybody can write and read and fill forms. But largely, the average Nigerian can read and write, yes, but not really educated. The average Nigerian is not still that educated. And a lot of people are still not technologically savvy like that. And you must ask yourself, the people you are catering to, who are the people that really have money? The people that have money to buy your market or your product might not be the people that can read and write. So you have to make your process accommodative of them. So it's important to ask yourself, as I am right now, what's the butt of my business? And the butt of your business, you understand, is what are the people complaining about? For some people, they say you have a good business, but the location is a butt. Maybe you need to get into a mall where people are short of parking space. Where people are sure that, okay, it's a one-stop business. So the day I want to go for groceries, I can also check and buy. For some people, it's not the location. It's even courtesy. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So it's important. The next thing I'm going to talk about, because really what Arinola has told me to talk about is how to do a resilient business. And when we're talking about resilience, it means you can stand the test of time. One of the problems with Nigerian business owners, when we consult for them, is that they want to start the hotel today, and all the money they put into building the hotel or the school, they want to recoup in the first 2 years. How is that possible? I consulted with a man that had a university in Ogun State. I'm not going to call the name of the university, but they are less than 2 years old. The money built, we are talking about over 1 billion naira invested into building a university. And you say you want to make it back in 5 years. How is that realistic? So it's important for us to understand that all the money are not going to be made back. It's going to take time. But are you into the business of product or service? If you are in the business of product, you understand what's your quality control. It's important to answer that question. What is your quality control? What are your standards? Can you survive adversity? And you must ask yourself, can you compete? I usually say it. We do not have, as I speak to you now, I'm on inverter. I don't even have light. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be on band A. We complain in Nigeria. We complain in Nigeria that they should fix NEPA, fix NEPA, fix NEPA. I always tell people, let us, as much as I want them to also fix NEPA, let us pray that our business owners get to the standard they need to be before they fix NEPA. If we don't get to the standard we need to be before they fix NEPA, all of us that were calling ourselves business owner today will become employers. Because we can't really compete. Imagine, Julius Berger is number 19 in Germany and is a distance number 1 in Nigeria in terms of construction. Imagine that Oyinbos, if you understand what I mean, people from the Western world or Chinese come back to Nigeria to set up companies. Can you compete with them? Let's be honest with ourselves. In terms of quality and service delivery, when we have uninterrupted power supply in this country, even us, some of us, if you see a barber that is white and you see a barber that is Nigerian, you most likely will go to the white barber. One of the reasons you go to the white barber is timing. The white barber, if he's barbing, you will most likely not pick his phone. But the Nigerian barber can pick his phone and say, okay, you should understand, it's my mom, or it's my wife, You know, these little things are important. I also give a simple example. Some of people that are into services in Nigeria today, if you check them on Instagram, perfect websites, their adverts, perfect, everything perfect until you make your orders. A Nigerian food vendor, I was outside of Nigeria, myself and my wife went for Thanksgiving last year. I saw a Nigerian food vendor where we had been outside of the country for like 2 weeks. So we wanted Nigerian food. And it wasn't something too special. It was just jollof rice and plantain. And so we saw a vendor and we liked all this thing. We chatted and they responded well. I was like, Nigerians abroad know what they are doing. Maybe you should come and teach the people at home. Only for me to say, okay, I'm placing my order. When is the food going to be ready? They told me it's going to be ready between 2 and 7. How? What kind of service is that? How do you tell someone food is going to be ready between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m.? Even if you are going to be the one to plant the rice. You know, if I choose to cook the food myself at home, how many minutes is it going to take me? How many hours? So, and that's the problem. A lot of us who are doing business, we are very good with the detailing, but you know, the follow-up is bad. It's like Nigerian immigration system too. If you say you want to do passport and you go online, you will do everything, but the day you go to the office, there is nobody at the other end to download everything that they have done online and put it in a file. So if you really know you want a passport, just go to the office, talk to someone you know. If the person asks you for money, you might not have a choice, but you do that and move on. But that you want to go and do online, you are not going to get result, which is what I'm saying. But that's a government agency. It's bad to say it, but most of our agencies are not functional like that. But when we are talking about your own personal business, there must be a difference between you doing business and being busy. Busyness is the highest form of laziness, according to a Tibetan philosopher. You understand? My mother used to call it much ado about nothing. So it's just activity, no productivity. But if you really want productivity, services must be what? Must be top-notch. Services has to be top-notch. You have to know what you're about if you really want productivity. Sahara used to employ people and give them just 3 months internship. I had a sister-in-law at that time that worked in Sahara before she relocated. She did the 3 months, and after the 3 months, her oga wrote a memo to the head office. You know, they renewed the 3 months for her, which had never happened before then. You will not believe that this lady worked in Sahara for 2 years. They were renewing the 3 months, the 3 months, the 3 months, until she worked for 2 years, and then she got a job with Total. When she was going to go to Total, Sahara did a party for her before she left. That had never happened with there's a word for people that contract. Yeah, that's never happened with the contract staff. That had never happened with the contract staff. When she was going to Total wanted her as a contract staff. From the interview, the things she said she did and everything, they made her a permanent staff, even though invariably she had to relocate. So it's important to understand that quality control. And it's a problem with even a lot of people that are into agric, even some tailors in Nigeria. You know, that's when you hear things like what I ordered versus what I got. That's what we're talking about, standardization. So it's important to get that. And then the next thing is how user-friendly is your business. It's important. Are you online? Are you easy to locate? Do you have car park? Are you within a mall? You don't have to be within a mall. What's your packaging like? That all of us will agree that we have had a lot of products that we bought that we know in our mind that this product is good. If only they can improve on their packaging. If you are not user friendly, it's a matter of time. People will leave. You know, the day people start leaving your business is that day that you think that you are enjoying. You are selling food. There's a long queue. People are in front of you complaining. You thinking that, oh, I really make, but that's the day they will leave because they will continually say it. That food is nice, but man, the queue, I can't afford it. It's the same thing for a mechanic. It's the same thing, you understand? And then courtesy, your staffs. Sometimes it's not you, it's your employees. They have to be in the business of talking to customers properly. You know, that's why a lot of people complain about government agencies. The people there just don't understand. In fact, they behave as if it's not the agency that is paying them. But the truth is that the way you behave, when we were young, my father had a driver. My father had a political appointment one time like that when we were young. So he had like 3 official drivers. I was one for him, one for my mom, and then the one that used to take us to school. So my dad realized that the one that takes us to school used to smoke. So my father was going to terminate his appointment. So I just realized that the guy didn't come for a week, and then a week after he resumed again. And then so the guy was gisting another colleague of his that he said it in Yoruba, and I'll translate for people that don't speak Yoruba. Oga like me, only one fasika. But àwọn ọmọ ọ̀gá like me. Ṣé ráwọn alákọ̀wé yìí, àwọn ọmọ wọn lọ́lọ́run wọn. My boss doesn't like me. He says I smoke. But his kids love me. You see these educated men, their kids are their gods. Of course, my father retained the guy because we liked him. But my father asked us why we like him. By the way, my father is a professor, so he asks a lot of questions. And so growing up in my own house, we used to talk a lot. We're allowed, my house is like a kind of Sorosuke house. People are allowed to express themselves. So my father asked us that, why do we like him? And we told him that the guy has, you know, in today's term, if we were going to tell my father, what we would say is that the man has lamba. You know, these kind of people that try to travel to Libya using this thing. So he had tried that kind of trip. It wasn't successful. So there are a lot of stories we heard from him. So my father realized that our interaction with him was quite educative. So the guy will say things, stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki war, we heard from him. The guy will say, see Faro, see Portugal. That do we know where Faro is? Faro is in Tunisia. That time that they were in Casablanca, they were looking at Madrid like this. When they switch on street lights in Madrid, those are the kind of stories he used to tell us. And you know, he increased our, our knowledge of geography. So my father realized that, okay, maybe the relationship is not totally bad. So because of that, my father retained him, but warned him he mustn't smoke in front of us, and he must never perceive the smell of cigarette on him while on duty. But that smoking thing is your life. You can see that it's written on the packet. Smokers are liable to die young. But the man, but even now that we are old, when we talk about the guy, myself and my siblings, we are still all full of laughter and memory. So you can just imagine the kind of impression he made on us, which is what we are trying to see, that you must have a business that if you have a product or you have a service that makes an impression on people, you must have staffs that understand that. And you know, you cannot behave like you are doing people a favor by them patronizing you. It's their money. And the honest truth about it is that you must make it easy for people to spend their money on your business. Because some people really have this money and they don't know what to do with it. That's the honest truth. Some people have this money, they don't know what to do with it. So they're ready to patronize you, so they're ready to invest in you. But are you making it convenient for them? So I'm not here to really tell you anything you've not heard before. But the point is, you need some level of discipline and to stay on point. And we have some toxic traits in Nigeria. One of our toxic traits is that we like to manage. manage, manage. I used to tell people, I've never traveled outside of Nigeria before. Someone gives me a car and says, oh, this car, the glass doesn't go down. If you want to open it, you have to lift it. It just works perfectly. It's only in Nigeria that you hear things, oh, do you know the car doesn't do this, the car doesn't, you go to people's house, it's almost impossible for you to flush. There was a time my nephew came out from, this is a boy that lives in Lagos. He was like 7-year-old and he came to greet us in my house and there was no sliced bread. So I gave him a loaf of bread and he was asking me, so how do I eat it? He had not seen a loaf of bread before in his life. He doesn't understand agege bread. This is a normal loaf of bread. He was asking me, how do I eat it? How do I eat it? Because all he knows in his life is that I slice. So I had to slice this for him. Then he was good to go. You know, I say that for us to understand that there are standards that you can create and people just don't understand anything substandard, anything less than that. But you know, when you grew up in this side of the world and you are too used to manage, even when they give, that's why, even though this is not a relationship thing, but that's why even some women settle for relationships that are beneath them. It's because you don't even know your worth. That's some. So I move to the next slide, which is, are you scalable? There's always room for what? Growth and development. I had a friend that used to sell chalk, and I usually use it as an example. He used to sell chalk to schools, and as of 1999, 2000, this guy was making like 1 million naira net profit monthly. But he went for a conference in Dubai. The conference is called GITEX. It's a technological conference. And it was from there he heard that they will phase out chalk and the schools will use marker boards. I'm sure a lot of us that have kids in schools now, we know that they don't use chalk again, even though in our own days, they use chalk. So what did this guy do? He morphed from chalk to marker board. Of course, marker boards were more expensive than chalk, but his revenue also moved from 1 million a month to 2.5 million a month in terms of net profits. What am I trying to say? You need to be ahead of the curve. What am I trying to say? You need to also give room for growth and development. But one of the things that have made women succeed more in business is because women do not overshoot themselves. What am I trying to say? It is better to maintain your 1 million a month for 30 years within your 1 million than to overshoot your budget and say you want to scale up, go and borrow money from bank. You're not able to pay loan, you have high blood pressure, and you still lose the business. So scaling up is important, but just don't scale anyhow. But if you are not going to scale in terms of more branches, what do? You still develop. Better is the enemy of best. There is nothing really called best. In the race for quality, there are no finish line. Anything can still be better. So there is room for improvements. Even if you are not increasing the number of branches, your products and services can improve. And all of that will tell on your bottom line. When your product and services improve, it will generally tell on your bottom line. You will make more money and you would impact more life. Invariably, that in itself will lead to growth. But it's important not to just jump into growth. One has 2 branches, I want to have 2 branches. Because sometimes some of these businesses that have franchise, that have branches, some branches are not really doing well. It's one branch that is carrying them, but you won't know. They won't tell you that because what they are trying to do is just have presence. But so know that you are doing it not because you just want to have presence. It's important to understand why you are doing what you are doing. The next thing is HR services and recruitment. There are a lot of fantastic business in Nigeria that recruiting is a problem. There is something called wrong hire. If you're an HR person, you will know. If you recruit the wrong staff, the energy and the work you have done in 5 years it might take you, they can take it down in 6 weeks. So it's always important to recruit right. Raising capital is not as difficult as recruiting in Nigeria. People just don't have. I have a friend that has a fast food joint, restaurant. Some of his staffs have their own personal gigs where they do barbecue. They steal his chicken, they steal his spices, they steal his oil. Theft. If you can slow down on those chokeholds, you'll be shocked at the level of profit that will do for you. So people, it's important that in fact don't recruit who you don't just recruit anyhow. You know, there's a Yoruba saying that the pin that has a cloth that has a thread on it will never get missing. So what am I trying to say? Recruit people based on competence and referrals. Someone you can hold accountable. You know someone that they can, so they also have stakes. Because it's when people don't have stakes that they behave anyhow. In closing, the real question to ask is that, are the customers asking for too much? And then that's one. Ask yourself, are the customers asking for too much or not asking for enough? That note is not supposed to be here. That's an error on my part. Are the customers asking for too much? Because really, are the customers really asking for too much? Are we demanding too much? No, don't see it like that. They're not asking for too much. So make those adjustments. Allow feedback. Don't see it as complaint. And then make it easy for people to spend their money on your business. Just to make it easy. Let people be able to spend their money. People have money to spend. It's not that when people see what they like, they will spend money. People used to go from Lagos to buy rice in Ikene, Atamashe rice, those days. And people come from the island and to go to the mainland too, to buy some funny rice, amalashita, bankolemo designer rice, etc., etc. So it's important that you allow for feedback. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Gbenga Olorunfemi. It was nice having you guys, and I'll be ready for Q&A.
Wow, thank you so much for that straightforward session, straight to the point and power-packed. I know we all have something that we have picked. I've seen a lot of notes going around, people taking thoughts from you. Thank you so much, Mr. Olorunfemi. We're really grateful to have you. Right now, do we have any questions? If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and ask your questions or drop the questions in the chat box. I think I see something in the chat box. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
Okay, let me build the cat while every other person prefers to ask their own question. So, based on the conversation I've had with a number of members of Power Mom Support Circle, Power Moms Africa, basically, there's this question they all seem to be asking in recent times, based on the current economic state, right? Of course, we know that we are not of this economy, right? We tap into the sufficiency of God's provision, because it says He has provided for all our needs according to His riches in glory. Not according to the economy or according to our needs, but His riches in glory. And it's really coming into the awareness, full understanding of that scripture actually we really tap into. But not everybody are Christian, not everybody attend this church. We all share the same faith we share, and most importantly, many of their customers don't share that disposition, because you see many people whine and wail on their status. Really, the economy is this, the economy is that. So for a business who has done all it takes to be resilient, put in all the structure it takes to scale and everything, and the customers are still complaining, whining and wailing about their current economic state, and it's difficult for them to make sales. So in this current interesting economic realities, what advice would you give such a person? Is it to probably rebrand, or maybe find the right customer? Maybe the customer base are not even giving. Maybe they are not, you're not called to that kind of people. What adjustments can such a business owner make to, yeah, to scale their business, to make profits, yeah, to stay profitable?
Thank you so much, Arinola. I like that question, and it's a very, very realistic and valid question. I'm on a board of 2 schools in Lagos as I speak to you. And that's part of one of the things that we discuss on the board. You know, that the Jackpot realities that is making children leave school. And then there is the cost of so many things that wants to make you increase school fees. In one of the schools in which I am on the board, you know, the session starts in September. When we were meeting in August, we realized that 30 students had left. And all 30 that left based on Jackpot. So the kids don't even have a choice on it. Their parents are leaving, so they need to leave. Now, 30 has left. Like another 10 students are coming. I mean, the parents are coming to say that this school fees, if we do not get a discount, we might have to leave. So what do you do? And I, as one of the people on the board, was realistic enough to say that I grew up in a university environment. I attended the university primary school, attended the university secondary school. When we were going to school, they will increase school fees by 20 naira. And you will see like 1,000 professors come to argue, and they will revert it. It's not because they can't afford it, but you need to justify what you want to do with that 20 naira. Today, we have a lot of school, and unfortunately, our own parenting style is not like the parents of those days that were very, very, very conscious of what they do with their money. We have a lifestyle problem, and we like to flex. So part of the flex for us in our own generation now is that, oh, I have a 3-year-old daughter and I'm paying 750 per term. You know, that's what we consider a flex, but it's nonsense, because what is she learning? You get? So I had to tell the school, there's nothing you are learning in primary school that you can't learn under the tree. Let's be honest with ourselves. So the essence of classroom is conduciveness. Is the classroom conducive? We don't need to be running ACs any longer. We don't, you understand? Let them have fun. There are some things that school does that are not necessary. When we were young, we go to school and we play sports. Simple. Today, for a child to play sports is extracurricular activity. You are paying 40K per term. That's difficult on the parents. Why is anybody paying 100,000 for Christmas party? Why is anybody paying 35,000 for yearbook? That picture, that frame that they give them at the end of every year. Why is anybody paying? Send them digital copies. If they want to frame it, they let them frame it. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to. The thing is that even us, we have created some unnecessary standards that are not necessary, using school as an example. Because you must also understand, where is your school located? For a primary school, where you are located will determine 60 to 50% of your clients. If a primary school is located in Surulere, for example, or Magodo, for example, are you honestly sure a primary school, are you honestly sure people will come from VI or Lekki? It's not likely. So it's going to be within 60%, maybe a few. And that few must be people that maybe their parents, if you are in Magodo, maybe their parents are working at Hausa, so they want to leave the house at the same time. And then they all close at the same time too. But that's just a few. Those are the outliers. So it's important for us to be realistic with ourselves, which is why I started with that 4-6 packets that I gave. You understand? What business am I in? How am I doing my pricing? Who are my target audience? All of those things. We need to be realistic with that. You don't have to overdo. I saw on Instagram recently a party that they served amala in an ice cream cup. You understand? The person too is, you understand, is reducing size at this thing. They don't want, you understand? They don't want to go bankrupt. So some of these things has to, and is it because sometimes we overdo. Do you know that there are schools in Lagos State that they are wearing white shirts? If you have lived in UK, you know that every school in UK has the same uniform almost. It's white and gray or white and blue. Simple. But the boys are wearing white shirts, the girls are wearing white shirts. It's the only thing is blue or gray. All schools. It's only bad that'll be different. But there are schools in Lagos that they're also wearing white shirts and they import the white shirt. You are saying we don't have white. We don't have tailor that can sew white in Nigeria. How difficult is it to sew white shirt for a 9-year-old or a 6-year-old boy? So sometimes we get involved in things that we shouldn't get involved in. We are spending money that we shouldn't be spending. We are spending money we shouldn't be spending. Even when it comes to nutrition, you know, it's the same thing you get from millet, ogi, etc., that you are getting from your cereal. But people are not ready to go the way of ogi, millet, dongoyaro, kunu, etc. You understand? But drastic illness need drastic cure. Trying times to need some kind of things. You need to make adjustment. It's just for a while. It's just for a while. And those are the things. And in doing that, can even bet another business for you. It's just a matter of time. Let me tell you, in this same country, in the 50s, and you can ask, you can research, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, up to the 80s, it is impossible for you to be a primary school teacher, a secondary school teacher, a university lecturer, or a civil servant and not have a farm. That's why those days they used to say Gari was a poor man's food. It's because people didn't used to buy Gari. Everybody just owned Gari. But do you know the poor man's food today? Indomie. This is Indomie that we know when it came to Nigeria. At least my generation, we know when it came to Nigeria. We didn't used to eat it before. We know when it came to Nigeria. Indian meat came to Nigeria for the first time in 1993. You can Google me on it too. For the first time. There was nothing like Indomie before 1993. But today, if you see any child that is less than 15 years old and ask them what is their best Nigerian meal, they say Indomie. Is Indomie our food? Indomie is not even our food. So what I'm trying to say is that we have a lifestyle problem. It's lifestyle. We need to cut down on some things. I can't remember the last time we played for DSTV in my house now. Does that mean I don't watch football? I watch football now, but I don't have to pay DSTV. It's too expensive. And it's just myself and my wife at home now. We have become lonely nesters. She goes to work, I go to work. So who are we paying the DSTV for? Gone. I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we have another question in the chat box. Someone says, where is your sports shop located at Surulere?
My shop is Playfit. It's called Playfit. It's shop B44. Adeniro Ogunsoya Mall. It's on the same line. It's on the same line with Samsung. I've been there for 12 years.
Okay. Another question says, how can leaders communicate effectively with their teams during times of crisis? Keep them motivated and business profitable.
Well, you know, the job of a leader is to cast the vision. I'm sure you heard of, I'm sure you are aware of NSAS. So I'm going to tell a personal story now. When NSAS happened, I lost between 80M to 100M. So in 2020, you are aware that there was lockdown. And lockdown started by middle of March. We didn't get back to work until, like, say, July. And planes were not even allowed to fly. Planes were allowed to fly, I think, around the 7th or the 9th of September. That was when we were able to make our first set of purchase. Our goods landed 2nd of October. So we put it, new arrivals and all of that. And people started buying stuff. People, because, football season starts September, and I sell jerseys, joggers, all of that. People started coming out to buy. But NSAS happened on the 20th of October. So we have only sold for like 18 or 16 days before NSAS happened. And then there was a curfew again. People couldn't go out. And then we were looted. We were looted that people even made away with our seaway, the office seaway. They took everything, over 5,000 jerseys. Everything. But we were back. We had to start again from ground zero. But what did I do? I called my staff to answer the question. I called my staffs and I told them, you can see what has happened and I'm financially exposed. I still have to pay the bank. Do we what? Do we tell some people to go? Or are we going to take a pay, or are we going to take a pay cut? What do we want? But this is where we are right now. They agreed that they were going to take a pay cut. I went to meet my landlady. I told my landlady, this is where we are right now. What is going to happen? My landlady said that there's nothing she can do. I paid till this thing. When the money expires, I should leave. So we used to be on the opposite side. So I went to meet someone whose tenant was leaving. And I went to meet the person. Your tenant is leaving. And they're leaving because they cannot pay. I want to take your space. But this is where I am financially now. You are a landlady in this mall. You know what happened. What said to you? The woman asked me one question. Say, are you a Christian? I said, yes. She said, you will rise again if I believe. And I said, I believe, man. And she said, whatever you say you want to pay, pay. That amount I said I want to pay is what I'm still paying. In fact, I just paid rent last week. So this is 2024. I paid 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024 to 2025 now. It's still that same amount. She has not increased it. But Christmas, so I owe her. I will do basket of fruit. I'll go and give her. Easter, basket of fruit. She's 89. She's an elderly woman. Sometimes I just go and greet her and sit in front of her. Mama will say, you know when they say Jack Robinson stories? I was told in 1954. I don't even know anything about. But I will stay there and listen. If that is what I have to pay, if that is the price I also have to pay for a good deed, I have to pay it. But the point I'm trying to make is that my staff that I have before COVID is all of them intact that I still have after COVID. It is only in the business consulting that staffs have left, and the people that left there say is jackpot that they left for. It's not because we have issues, but we sat down, and then after they agreed to a pay cut, I told them, I'm not saying pay cut for just 1 month, too. I'm saying pay cut for the next 4 years. What we agree on is what we are going to agree on. They agreed with me, but they asked me, so what am I going to do for them? So I told them, we will start welfare. And that's what I've been doing for them. So every quarter, we will buy a bag of rice, bag of gari, bag of beans, etc. They will share. They will even share for me. You understand? But you know me, I won't take it. I don't really need it. So sometimes I will look at the ones that I feel need it, like maybe my driver, and I'll give to him. So that's how you buy people's loyalty too. That's how people are able to take a bullet for you. That's how people are ready to die for you. You understand? My mom's 10th memorial ceremony was in June this year. I was on a project with LLNG in Abuja. I did not tell them in the office. I flew from Abuja to Ilorin where we held the ceremony. But my staffs came. Even one of them said he needed to give a speech. In my mind, I was thinking, it's my mom's 10th memorial. You want to give a speech? Because you never even met my mom. But I allowed the person speak. The person just wanted to say that for me to be the way I am, my mother must be a good person. And I said that, well, you might be right, but you're not totally right. You understand? You're not totally right. My mother can also be a bad person. And I'll still turn out right. But my mother is actually a good person. Because, you know, it depends on how you understand? It depends on how you react to the society. Bad people can breed good people too. Just like good people also breed good people. It's reaction. So I don't know if I'm telling a bit of my own story, I've answered the question. Are we still together?
Yes, you did, sir. You did, sir. You did a fantastic job at that question. Highly actionable and really, really inspiring too. Someone asked a question in the comment section. Tejumade, are you there? Tejumade, are you there? Okay, I'm trying to locate. Okay, Arinola is trying to ask a question. You can unmute and speak, please. You can type or unmute. Arinola, are you there? Arinola Deyemo, you have a question. Okay, she says, okay, I work in a corporate dry cleaning firm. The problem I have with the staff is consistency. They are laid down processes, but oftentimes they jump processes. So what should she do in that kind of situation with such?
Consequences. There has to be consequences for people's actions. And then there has to be reward for doing well. Once you reward people for doing well, part of the problem we have in this world is that people don't reward people for doing well enough. We just think it's normal. Reward people for doing well, make sure there are consequences for people's actions too when they fail. Once people understand that, because let me tell you, even babies, toddlers, they will test your resolve. If you say, don't go there, they will look at you to see how serious you are. People will test your boundaries. So, but once there are consequences for people's action, people will stand straight too. Myself and my wife, when we're going to get married, we told people we don't do Ashwebi. People have married, my younger sister, my brother, her own sister, we still did not do Ashwebi. Now people know. Do you know that we now have friends that will buy the Ashwe and give to us? Just because they want us to wear. You know, when they now buy and give to you, it now becomes a problem. You can't wear it again now. You understand what I mean? But so people respect people's boundaries. If you understand. And my grandfather, he was my maternal grandfather, he was a bishop. If you go to his house on Friday, even if you like have ulcer, you are fasting. They are not cooking anything in that house until evening. And if you go to his house, once it's 10 o'clock, he's going to go and do his prayers. 11 o'clock, he can come back and you continue the gist. Even if you are president of the world, 10 o'clock, Baba is standing up. Everybody already knows. People will respect you if you stand for something. It is when you don't stand for anything because you don't want to offend people. You understand? And that's the problem a lot of us, that's the guilt a lot of us carry in the workplace. Let people know that this is the way you are. My staff, I'm very free with my staff, so they know me. But at the same time, they know if you drop the ball, I can be eating sandwiches and I will share with you. That's not supposed to mean that if we are supposed to remove 500 naira for your money because you came late, I will not remove the 500 naira. Food is different. I need you to be able to have energy to eat, to work. It's different. But you drop the ball and you must face a consequence. That your family member doesn't mean that we will treat you as such. Anybody that knows me, they know that about me. I won't raise my voice. I won't get angry. But what we agree on, we will carry it out. We will carry it out. Now, it's not a big deal at all. A nephew of mine he's in law school as I speak to you. So he's like my son. He just graduated from school and he was going to go to Abuja. So I brought him for law school. He schooled outside Nigeria. So I woke him up that morning when my wife was going to work because the driver was going to drop my wife in the office in Ikoyi. We live in Surulere. So you can imagine Ikoyi to Surulere is not that far. So I told him, Oga, your flight is for 11 o'clock. You are still sleeping. Is it not the same driver that will drop your auntie that will come and carry you? He said, it's 11 now. Why am I in a hurry? I said, okay, it's not a problem. Long and short, he missed his flight. The driver dropped him, but he missed his flight. When he called to say he has missed his flight, I told him that just call the driver. Let him take you to the nearest, to Jibo, nearest ABC, God is good, etc., etc. But that I am going to pay for another ticket, leave the matter. He said they say that there's a 1 o'clock flight that if he can pay so amount, 45K, they will upgrade him and put him on. I said but you have 45,000 now. He said yes. I said pay. He said, but is his money for feeding? I say, so I'm supposed to be the one not to eat. for your negligence. He paid though. Maybe he's been able to psych his mother or his auntie or his other uncles to give him money. I don't know. But me, I'm not sending money until the day I'm supposed to send money. You cannot have someone that will drop you at the airport and you didn't pay for the, you know how much tickets are these days, and you didn't buy tickets and you still be missing flights. It's some level of irresponsibility, and there must be consequences for those actions. And it doesn't mean I don't love him.
Yeah.
Aha.
Absolutely. Tough love.
It is, thank you. It's tough love. It doesn't mean I don't love him. God is like that with us too.
Thank you so much. I hope the questions have been answered. Does anyone have anything else to ask
Someone
about?
sent a question to me privately, probably meant to send it to everybody, but sent to me privately.
Okay.
It says, how can businesses leverage technology to build resilience and agility? In light of all that is going on out there online, how do you retain your core? And I think something around retaining your core, not following the bandwagon and just doing what is right, leveraging technology the right way. I think that's
technology has so many advantages and that businesses can leverage. The honest truth about it is that people are not ready to do the work. Because you know how WhatsApp can help you spread things. The easiest way to leverage technology is to just do it in such a way that technology makes your business easier, your forms easier to fill, and people you're able to access. The real problem with online is that, let's be honest with ourselves, the average Nigerian doing business online, average, I said, not all, has no integrity.
Well.
The way they do people online is more than how they do it physically. Because why do they do that? Once they collect your money, it's easy for them to block you. And they block you on all fronts. So that's the real. If there was no online dubious market, we wouldn't have a need for, and I say this respectfully, you understand? We won't have a need for nuisances like Very Dark Man.
Hey.
And that's why I say it respectfully.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm not saying that, you know, but if you look at it, there's a need for what he's doing, even though he has a nuisance value. You know, but if people were doing business right, all of that will not be necessary. Do you know that there was a time in this country that if you want to buy newspaper, you go to the stand, you pick the paper, you put your money, and you put stone on the money, and you go back. There was a stand in this country and that it happened like that. But you know, today, if you try it, supporting law, it has gone. It has gone. So that's where the real issue is. There are so many things, there are so many ways to leverage on tech. Make sure you are accessible. You see, for a lot of business that people do in this country, the real issue is that their eyes have not been opened to their clients. Most of the people that do business in this country, your clients are not even in Nigeria. The average Nigerian abroad, they are yearning for local made Nigerian things. And until you understand that these really are my clients, do you know that I have a lady that used to teach in a school, and she was earning 120K per month, which is very meager in today's economy. But today, she has resigned. And do you guess what he's doing? He's teaching online now. She used to teach CRK. All the people she's teaching online are in America, Canada, and UK, because those society, is a very liberal society and fluid society, and their parents want them to be grounded. So she's teaching children online, and she's earning in the currency of that country. The first thing she did was to open a dorm account. Now, there are some months that she earns $1,000. There are months that she earns $500. It's not consistent because, it's hour-based. But they sign up for it. But, that's technology and creativity. I know someone that does Ashwebi, but the Ashwebi she's doing is strictly for people abroad that want to come and buy this thing. And his Instagram, she's leveraging. And she will do the Ashwebi, do the everything. But she's in Lagos. The people doing the Ashwebi really are in Akure. But she's not even selling local. She's not selling to people in Nigeria. She's not arguing. She's not interested in people that know T-Pain. You understand? She's not interested in T-Pain's economy. So a lot of time, we have not done enough research to understand who are our target market, who are the people we really want to cater to. We're just, we are, for want of word, we are everywhere like oxygen. We're not supposed to be like that. Take a step backward, look inward, realize your real target market.
As at a point, I don't know, after I got married, I just noticed that I bought it one day in Market, I cooked it, started going to toilet. I said, what was wrong? So when I now realized that was what was causing the problem.
Is that someone asking a question?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Yes, I don't think so.
Thank you.
So technology is good, but don't make it too difficult. Make it user-friendly. Make it user-friendly. There are a lot of people cooking now. 20 years ago, it wouldn't fly the way it's flying now. But there are a lot of people that don't have the luxury of time any longer. That's the truth. So they would rather buy it. Do you know the number of people that are waiting to talk to? They are looking for people to talk to. You know, I'm a certified teller. I know people that just say they just want to talk. But even me, I don't have the luxury of time. But so I know that there's a space for that, where people mental health. My driver used to do Uber before but he wasn't the owner of the car. Before he started driving us, he told us, myself and my wife, one day, that there's a lady he used to carry in VGC. Once he carries the woman will say she's going to Alausa. Once they get to Alausa, the woman will say, let's go back to VGC. They drive back to VGC, and they drive back to Alausa, and they go back. And at the end of the day, he will calculate, how much is the money? Maybe 67,000. The woman will transfer 100K to him. That's how she used to do. Why? She just wanted to rant. Talk about, she's married, her husband has money, but she's not happy. The guy said after a week, he had to stop. Why? Because even he was getting depressed. So if you don't have energy, what I'm just trying to say is that there's another person now somewhere praying that is a certified counselor or therapist that I need clients. And the other woman is ready to pay any amount for session, but they can't connect. They can't connect. So sometimes one of these things that we are talking about is because we cannot connecting with the real people. So we need to understand how to connect with the real people. And technology is the fastest way that can help you to do all of that. This Power Mom thing that you guys are doing, the adverts you guys run. I said my father lives in Ilorin. My father is not on IG. My father sent it to me, even before me, I saw it. My father asked me, you understand? So imagine if it was a business and it was something that he needed to patronize too. That should tell you that my father is not online here now. My father is not coming to listen. My father is not doing any business. He's a lecturer, he teaches. He's left the Federal University retirement, but he's in a private school too now because he needs to be engaged. So my point is, imagine that it was a business. Your business is already in Ilorin and you don't know. But what will determine if you will be able to harvest that business in Ilorin now depends on your service delivery, quality, courtesy, those little things. So sometimes we need to even change the circle, the people we are looking at.
Thank you so much. This is such an amazing response. There's so much that I personally have gathered from what you have said. And I'll just pick a few of the points before we round off the session. You have said so much, but there's something you said in the beginning. You said men are more eager to scale up.
Yes.
Men are more eager to scale up. Could you just, in a minute, give us a few more thoughts on that? Why is it that, there's that disparity when it comes to hunger for risk, hunger for scaling up your business between the male folk and the women?
I like that question. It's a very smart and intelligent question. The real difference why men have more hunger is that, and I'll start by giving 2 examples. So there was a particular year, the immediate past governor of my state, I was invited for a dinner, and they were hosting the people that had just graduated from law school from the state that year. And they produced 6 people that finished with a first class. Out of that 6, 5 were ladies and 1 was a guy. And that 1 was the one that gave the vote of thanks. So when I was supposed to talk, I said it, that if they flipped it and they had 5 boys and 1 lady, that lady would not even volunteer herself to give the vote of thanks. The following year, they had 7 people. 4 ladies, 3 guys. Of course, a guy gave the vote of thanks. If you look at the lot of association, office of president usually vied for by a guy, and by nature, the woman will go for VP. We send our boys and our girls to the same school, but some conscious, we pump our boys more to believe that they are leaders and they are providers. And then we tell our women that they are supposed to be subservient, submit. So because of that, women suffer a natural imposter syndrome. Even when they always feel they are not good enough, even when they are qualified, they always think they are not good enough. Let me give the second example I was going to give. A woman is a CEO of a bank. If you go and meet her as a godfather and say to her, I will make you the next governor of Lagos State, say, no, me, I can't. You are a CEO of a bank already. Say, no, it can't be me. I don't want wahala. But do you know that if you go and meet MC Oluomo, he doesn't have a certificate. He's just president of NURTW. That I want to make you next governor and say, God has finally answered my place. He won't even think about it twice. Men never think they are not qualified. When it comes to work, men are very delusional. They will take on what they can, what they are not even qualified for, what they cannot even do. A man is very delusional when it comes to work. He will take on what he cannot even do. You will see in an organization, you understand, a driver, he hasn't not gone to school, but just because he's been in an organization for 10 years, he will be how things are supposed to be done, just because he's a guy. A woman that is a cleaner in that organization will not talk like that. She will say, I don't do more than myself. So naturally, women have imposter syndromes. Even when they are qualified, they always think they are not qualified. That is why half of the time, if not all the time, you understand, they're usually more qualified and they deliver on the job. There is no business that I run if I must have a partner. My partner is always a woman. Do you know why? Women are more steady.
Tell us about it.
Men, we are everywhere, like oxygen. We are into this, you are into that. You want to jump, women are steady, slow and steady. Consistency, follow up. So they don't drop the ball as much. Men, we take on more than we can. We are delusional when it comes to work. Women are delusional when it comes to relationships. That's the difference between a man and a woman. Okonjo Iweala now, if you tell the average boy that Okonjo Iweala is not a good example. Let me give you this thing. Alakija. She's the richest black woman now. She has suffered a divorce now. She doesn't have a husband. Tell the average man now, she's single. Go and marry her. Me koja yemi o. What I want to marry her. How I go be husband to her? But if you say Dangote is single, even a house help will say yes. Why can't he marry me? Am I not equal? What does his wife have that I don't have? Do you get it? Do you see the difference? You almost ask yourself, if Dangote marries you, what are you going to be discussing? Kill him, oh
my God.
So that's the way it is. When it comes to work, men are very delusional.
Interesting.
Men will always take on more than they think. Men will always feel they are more qualified than they are qualified. Women always make better leaders. Go and check the bank CEOs. How many of them? They are women. They stabilize things. They understand this thing. And part of the reason they do well is because they think they are not qualified. You know, when you think you're not qualified, you don't take unnecessary risk. So if it's not what? If it's not broken, you don't fix it. That's the way women lead. But you know, men, they just want to, I am the one there now. Let them know that I'm around. Even if it's not broken, you still break it. You want to fix it. Thereby doing what? Scattering everything.
Everything. Wow, interesting. Very interesting take. You know, hearing it from a man.
No, it's a reality. People don't talk about it enough, but it's a reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe this is a cue for someone, whoever it is, maybe myself inclusive, you know, as women, that we should take our place, take your space. You know, we have what it takes, and you know, we shouldn't shy away from doing what we need to do simply because I'm a woman. All right, and I believe that's one of the reasons we have this support circle. Thank you so much. We are so glad to have you. We are grateful for how you have been so open, you know, in this conversation. You have been straight to the point. You have not held anything back. And we are grateful for that. I'm sure that a lot of things have been taken from what you have said. And I know time won't permit us to begin to take all the recap, but I just want you to know that we have been blessed. We have, I'm using church balance now. We have enjoyed hearing you and receiving what you have prepared for us, what you have taken the precious time that you have to prepare for us and to, you know, give to us this afternoon. Thank you so much, Mr. Olorunfemi. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you once again. I said I was going to show my face.
Oh, finally we get to see your face.
So this is my face, and I'll leave with a very short story.
All right, sir.
I was privileged to meet late Professor Mrs. Alele Williams, Grace Alele Williams, a professor of mathematics and the first female vice chancellor in Nigeria. So I asked her, professor of mathematics, that's an area, mathematics is something that women most times don't like and people don't like. In fact, a lot of people that I know that studied law because they didn't like maths. My immediate elder sister inclusive. So she said that actually when she was growing up, her father exposed her to a lot of things, and then she realized that the package in the Western region for a governor and a VC was the same thing. They were entitled to the same number of salary, the same number of... so in the Western region, old Nigeria, VC and governor were the same thing. Same number of stewards, same number of drivers, same number of staff, the same official residence. And so she asked herself, as a girl, what do I need to be governor, win an election? What do I need to be what? VC, read my book. Which one is easier for me? You see what I talk about imposter syndrome? She didn't see herself as having the capacity to become, but she believed that to become this other one is only me that is needed. That's the only one I can achieve. Anything that has to do with outside, I'm not sure. Let me not even take the risk. So I don't know if that has helped anybody in any way. So
absolutely.
That means, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm really happy about the questions Ejumade asked last, because it's actually a problem I've noticed with most women I know, either in the workplace, either in the marketplace, either at home. There's just that thing holding them back. Like, I just cannot relate. Like, one of the things that helped me growing up, I grew up around really, really strong women. My mother is the most strong woman I've ever met in my life. I'm yet to meet anyone that matches her energy. And my immediate elder sister, she studied mechanical engineering. She's just like that. All the women are like that. In my house, if something gets spoiled, before you call the man to come and do it, a woman has gone to fix the socket. You have gone to fix the iron or something that has gone spoiled. So when I go out and then you ask women, most times we always have, and I'm going to do a little bit of that in my presentation. We have this thing called the inner critic. It is louder for women than men, because when you were growing up, they told you this is how you sit down. You don't talk like this in public. You don't do this, you don't do that. And we allow the boy to express himself. Like when you are cooking, for instance, the boy can be in the field playing ball, but the woman knows she has to be with the mother cooking. I used to have issues with that thing because I cannot relate. I used to say, My girls can be in the garage helping their dad to fix the car, and I'll say, you boys, yeah, come and join me in the kitchen, let's cook today. Let them have an understanding of how these things play, because we are actually caging these children than we realize. And this thing, it will take it, they'll go with it through life. Like my other sister, for instance, I don't know if she's here today. The moment you tell her no, a woman cannot do this thing, hey, it's all over. She will go there and prove that a woman can do it. And when she graduated tops in her class, finished masters, she was first in class, just dusted everybody, attended Unilag mechanical engineering, everybody knew her. And then when she wanted to start work, she went to a private university. Unfortunately, or fortunately anyway, it's not for unfortunate, she was pregnant about the time. And the guy that came second was the one that got the job, right? But one of the things that also probably affected her was probably she didn't have experience, like field experience, to actually get that thing done. And we experienced that stereotype in certain fields. Like a woman cannot do this thing is meant for this. So it's a systemic problem. It's domestic and it is systemic at the same time. But when we have a systemic problem, should we now come and add to it in the domestic sphere also? And we should always try to break free from the limiting self-talk we tell ourselves. In my family we don't know book. Oh, in my family we don't used to do like that. So you know that me, I'm not this. You know, we have a lot of excuses we give ourselves that we actually stop ourselves. We need to. So I'm really happy when that question came, and you did a fantastic job at the question, as with everything you have said today. Thank you so much, sir.
You're always
This is not the
welcome.
first time I'm inviting you for a speaking engagement, and as always, you always wow the audience. Thank you so much,
You're
sir.
always welcome.
The Lord
Thank you.
bless and richly increase in Jesus'
It's
name.
like being left-handed. When you are left-handed in a society like this, the society is wired for right-handed people. So you always look clumsy and you think you are the one with the problem. You are not the one with the problem. The system is the one with the problem. That's the way it is that's the way it is for women too. It is not the women that is the problem, it's the system that is the problem. You know, there's no difference between a male child and a female child from 0 to 10. It's from 10, 12 thereabout that puberty starts coming in, and what puberty does is just heightens strength. That's all. The boy becomes stronger. That's all. Anything outside of that, no wahala. You understand? So a guy can learn how to cook and become a chef. A girl too can learn how to, you know. Let me get going, because actually have to be somewhere else for 2. Really nice talking to you guys. Enjoy
Thank
the rest of
Nice
the
to meet
program.
Arinola Ogunniyi. Arinola Ogunniyi is a passionate advocate for women's empowerment, leadership development, and community building. Arinola is a relentless learner and fierce arbiter of capacity building, and her relentless energy helps her unlock hidden gems in challenges. She is the founder of Power Moms Africa, a non-profit organization that offers emotional support to new moms. Her recent project, Power Mom Support Circle, is designed to help women in business and corporate leverage shared knowledge and best practices to gain a competitive edge in a dynamic and fast-paced marketplace. She envisions a world where women's presence is not a nod to some diversity metrics or quota system, but a natural reflection of the exceptional talent and passion for making meaningful impact. Her mission is to equip women with requisite skills to upskill and upskill and evolve into the highest version of themselves through mindful learning. She is the co-founder managing partner at Storybenders Digital, a Cannes Lions certified marketing communications expert. Arinola is a digital content strategist with over 10 years experience of crafting bold brand experiences using data-driven insights, cutting-edge digital marketing strategies, and disruptive brand storytelling to make brands profitable and unforgettable. She will be speaking at Power Mom Support Circle on the topic 10x your productivity. Brain hacking strategies for optimal performance. Registration is free. Click link in bio to sign up now. This program is brought to you by Power Moms Africa. All right, so thank you everyone for coming in today. It's a privilege speaking to you all on how to 10x your productivity using brain hacking strategies to actually optimize your performance. So I've always been fascinated with the concept of the brain. I've always been fascinated with that. I remember when I was young, I told my mommy that I want to study psychology. She said, o fẹ́ lọ máa ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́gbà wèrè. And you know, there is this thing about Yoruba language. Our language are so explicit, like, and I could imagine some of the patients in the psychiatric ward chasing me. Like, it means you want to be working in the compound of mad people. That's the Yoruba word for a psychiatric home. But I knew I couldn't. So that expression she said kind of scared me. I knew I didn't have a blessing, which is an error. Actually, we need to allow our children maximize their fullest potential, right? So I knew I couldn't pursue that career, but I've always had this deep fascination for how the human mind works, on psychology, on the mind, and everything. And I always find myself taking courses like electives and materials and all that on psychology. So, what do we think the brain is? In your own definition, what would you call the brain? What is the brain to you? Is it a machine? Is it a fruit? Is it an cucumber? Is it a motorcycle? Is it an organ? What is the brain? What do you think the brain is? Don't think your answers are stupid. Just say anything you think the brain is and what you think the brain does. So, what would you say the brain is to you? What is the brain and what is the function of the brain? I'm reading in the comment section. Oh. I'm reading. Speaker, you can see your screen. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh. So, human engine, correct. Okay. What other response did you give? What else is the brain? What is the brain to you? I'm reading, no. I'm reading. The brain helps us think. Awesome. Beautiful. It's a powerhouse. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all for those wonderful responses. So let me go back to my slide. The brain, a simple definition of the brain I found online, which is actually apt for our presentation for today, says the brain is the control center of the body. It's a complex and powerful organ that helps us think, learn, remember, move, and feel emotions. Actually, the brain does much more than all this, but for the sake of this presentation, let's just stick to the definition we have on the brain. So that's exactly what the brain is. So when we say brain hacking, what exactly do they mean? What was I thinking when okay, before that, let us just have an understanding of the three parts of the brain. The brain is divided into three major parts, and these things actually, we use them every day. In fact, as we are right now, we are using them on the regular. We have the amygdala, we have the hippocampus, and we have the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala is the emotional processing center. Like when you want to do something and you are suddenly terrified, you're afraid, your heart is beating, your knees are shaking, you are breaking into sweat, right? That is the amygdala being activated. And the hormone at work is probably cortisol or adrenaline. Then we have the hippocampus. So the amygdala is actually there to keep us safe from harm. You remember in secondary school when we did Mr. Ninjadi and they taught us about irritability. Our response to fear, it's either we flee or we fight. Yeah, it is that part of the brain that does most of the work, right? So we have the hippocampus. There are other parts, but these are the major ones I want us to focus on. So that part of the brain that helps us to flee or fight is let's say the bulldog. It is the guard dog of the brain, and its job is actually to keep us safe, to keep us from danger. So each time we want to do anything and like, well, let's do this tomorrow, Jerry, we procrastinate. The body likes to be in a state of comfort. So that's the job, is to just keep you in a state of comfort, perpetual comfort. Don't stress this person. You remember the last time you did this thing? Mopolo 10, you are going there again. Better respect yourself. That's the part of the brain at work. So it is the bulldog of the brain trying to keep us safe, protected, and maintain homeostasis. Then we have the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the memory formation center of the brain. It's like the librarian. I'm trying to make this thing very easy for us to understand. So when we go deep into other aspects, it will make a lot of sense. So it is where we store all our information. This part is actually very, very helpful when it comes to learning. And a beautiful way to actually do that, to activate that side of the brain, is walking. Walking actually helps that to get improved. So it is the memory center of the brain. That is where all your memories are stored. So it is like the librarian or the library of the brain. Then the prefrontal cortex is the decision-making center of the brain. It is like the Albert Einstein of your brain, right? All the decision making, your things like delegation, planning, organization, all your executive functions. It is this part of the brain that actually helps you come up with them. All those creative ideas you have to solve your problems, this is where those things come from. So what is brain hacking then? Because I don't know, what was I thinking when I thought about this topic? Am I a Yahoo boy? I'm not a Yahoo boy. Why then did I say brain hacking? Right? So the brain is like a computer, and what we know of computers, they have their own operating system. And an operating system is meant to be upgraded by per time. If you refuse to upgrade your system, it will start malfunctioning, it will crash, and one day it will just stop performing because it is operating on an outdated operating system. So when we say we want to hack our brain, right? Our brain is made up, we have some things they call the subconscious program that are running, all the preconceived notions, our beliefs, our perceptions, our biases, things that have been keeping us bound for so long. They are all stored up in the brain. And we have been storing these things since we were children, right? So the work we're about to do today is actually hacking our brain to upgrade our operating system. Many of us are still operating on an outdated version, and today we want to do the hard work of actually upgrading our system to help it function better, to improve it, to change it, to upgrade it so it can perform optimally and effectively, just like a brain that is a computer that is operating on the latest operating system, the latest updates will perform, right? And you know, when we're talking about our operating system, I said something about the subconscious program. What is the subconscious program? The subconscious program are all those things that daily influence our decisions every day. You know, when you go out, there's something like, I don't like this person. I think I want to buy this thing. You think it is you making that decision. It's a lie. I don't like my men. I like my men like this. It is not you making those decisions. It is the subconscious program you have built over time since you were a baby. Those subconscious programs have been forming. Nobody is in this world that does not have a subconscious program. We are being influenced on a daily. Our belief system, most of them are not our own. We acquired everything as we're coming, either from our parents, from our church, from our siblings, from the television, from the laptop, from the news, from your school, from your friends, right? Many people grow up with low self-esteem. They don't know where all that came from, right? So that is what the subconscious program is. Like when I remember when I was a little girl, I used to be very, very good at math. I love math so much. At year 4, I have a very photographic memory. I remember things that happened when I was 4 years and even younger. And I remember at year 4, I used to solve 100 tens and units, right? And people like, this small girl, you know book like this. And something changed. Something happened to me, and I lost that ability momentarily, right? There was one woman in our neighborhood. She worked in the customs, but me, I think she worked in the police because what I remember her wearing her black uniform. She used to skin her hair. She looked big and she looked very imposing. So she came to my mom one day and begged my mom that she should please let her be keeping her children with us because my grandmother was around at the time. She used to be around a lot anyways. That she loves where her children are well behaved. She wants her children, her 2 boys, to be staying with us after school. My mommy said, well, no problem. So they used to come to our place after school then, and that went on for a while. And a way of showing her gratitude, when she eventually started her school, she begged my mom to allow me to be coming to the school for free. And you know, we Nigerians, we are very hypocritical. Say you want to collect money. Where I was, the school I was before, I was who couldn't pay money there anyways. But she said, no, you don't need to pay. Okay. Oh. I started going to that school. Before I know what was happening, students began to come. So I don't know if eventually they started paying. I'm not sure. And I was like the brightest in the class. I used to come first every time. Her son too was in my class, and probably that made her feel uncomfortable. And this woman started to bully me. She started to bully me. Someone that size, wearing that uniform, I was so terrified, small me. And before I know what's happening, my grades started to plunge. I remember the first time I came second in class. I came with my results. I stood in the rain and I was crying. And then I eventually got to my mommy said, why am I crying? Why am I so wet? I told her I came second. She said, is that why you are crying? Is that why you are crying? One on next time I'll buckle up me so that you two will come first next time. And that is how I came about my subconscious program as to learning mathematics, especially in math, until I met someone, a teacher in SS2, and the teacher had taught my elder sisters. And then he just picked up on me that how come you have sisters that are so bright and you are so dull? and the man shamed me. But instead of me to feel ashamed, I said, if I don't know book, at least my sisters know book. I was feeling proud. I don't know book, or I did not kill somebody, at least my sisters know book. And from that point, I actually felt some form of, it's interesting, but I felt some form of pride. And from that point on, that man started taking notes of me, and before I knew what is happening, I started dusting my maths, my chemistry, my physics, and me that normally in class I don't used to talk. I started asking questions in class, right? And that is how I was able to get over that subconscious program. I was able to get that upgrade. Imagine I never met that man. I would have just felt I'm a dull person. I probably would never have remembered, even where, if not because I have a very sharp memory, I probably would never have remembered where that experience came from. I'll just conclude that I'm the only one that did not know book in my household, right? And that is what the subconscious program is. It can be any and everything. And subconscious programs are basically limiting beliefs and habits, amongst others. Fun fact: 90% of who we are by the time we are 35 years old is a memorized set of rules, emotional reactions, subconscious habits, beliefs, and perceptions that function as a program. I just explained that program as far as mathematics is concerned to you. We have different programs running in our head for different areas of our lives that consistently limit us through life, and we might never know where they are from. Now we are going to go into the habit loop. What makes this subconscious program actually stick is through repetition, through habits. Something is happening over time. Maybe you subject a child to limiting talks, to you talk the child down over time. You do it consistently, and the child continues believing you. That will form a habit loop, and before you know what's happening, the child will be running on that subconscious program for the rest of his or her life, except something happens that propels it otherwise, like the Newton's third law of motion that says a body remains in a state of rest until it is propelled by an external force to act otherwise. So habits are simply created by repetition over time. Emotions are linked to past experiences and memories. Emotions are basically us thinking in the past. That is it. Basically us thinking in the past. If you have an emotion, you cannot have an emotion for something you have not felt before. It is not possible. If you have ever been heartbroken before, you can tap into that experience of a heartbreak because it has happened to you before. So emotions are basically you thinking in the past. So that is what a habit is, something you do over time. And we do this every day without realizing it. And our subconscious program is being formed every day because we are stuck in a set of routine behaviors and habits. So let's say your alarm goes off at 5 o'clock in the morning. You wake up, you pick up your phone and you press, which is very, very unhealthy. Many people pray, many people don't. They set out to work, they meet the same crazy set of Lagos drivers and commuters and conductors. They get to work. You meet the same set of people that push the same emotional buttons. Before you know what is happening, you are stuck in meetings, you keep juggling your to-dos and deliverables. You go for lunch, you are stressed. You remember one employee, one conniving colleague, and all that, something that happened to you in the past. Before you know what is happening, you're just juggling from one work, from one deliverable to another. The day is over, and you barely scratched the surface of your task for that day. And you're stuck in this routine for a number of years without even realizing it. When you look at your life, we are creatures of habits. And before you know what is happening, it is a couple of years down the line, and nothing has really changed. We have just been stuck in that vicious cycle of habits and routine and belief system that limiting and everything. And it's about time we actually broke away from this limiting habits and all that. And we start by the power of the thoughts that go on in your mind. You can actually shape your destiny by the kind of thoughts that go on in your mind. You can decide to design a map. Your brain can be a map of the future instead of being a record of the past if you actually decide to start working on your thoughts. So here are PowerPoint for the power of thoughts. Thoughts can turn off stress response. Thoughts can make us sick or well. The quality of your thoughts can change the course of your life, and you can create your future by just thoughts alone. Now I'm going to illustrate that using this diagram. So let's say, for instance, you just felt sad and you decided to just call a friend and like, I'm not feeling good, though. I think I just want to have a good time today. And the kind of friend you call when you're having certain thoughts, you know the kind of friends you call. You not call those kind of friends that will check you and tell you this is not right, this is what you should do. So you decide to call a friend that has a kind of lifestyle like we all know, right? And then the friend decides to tell you, why don't we go to the club instead? You see how your thought has influenced your choice? And then you decide to go to the club. You know the way you behave. It will definitely influence your behavior. And then when you get to the club and you behave in that way you said, we talked about, you had some drinks, you danced in certain ways, of course, you dressed in a certain way, it will influence your experience, the kind of men that walk up to you. Then this person walks up to you. So the experience, a guy walks up to you, you probably started a relationship based on a chemically induced decision you made, right? A chemically induced decision. You decided to go in a relationship with this guy, and you know how these things end sometimes. He broke your heart. It was a very, very nasty fall, right? So from that alone, that experience has determined your emotion. And then you hold on to that emotion long enough before you know what is happening. You keep that emotion for, let's say, okay, it was a heartbreak. It's a very, very painful space to be. Let's not deny that fact, right? And then you kept on in that emotion. You held on to it for, let's say, some weeks longer. It determines your mood. Like, she's in a very bad mood. Oh. Tayo broke her heart. You held it for like some months. And before we notice what is happening, it gives you a kind of temperament. From not wanting to pick calls, from not wanting to go out with your friends, from not wanting to stay back after service, from not wanting to stay back after work or go to the movies with your friend, you now become a temperamental person. That determines your temperament. You become very touchy. Things just trigger you and then you just go off. And then you become so snappy and everything. Remember, it started from your thoughts. Your thoughts influenced your choice, influenced your behavior, influenced the experience, determined your emotion. Now you are in a very bad mood, and then you kept on to that mood long enough. It gave you a bad temperament. You say, this person is very temperamental. She's very short fused. She gets angry easily. And then you hold on to that temper long enough for a little more years, a little more decades. Before you know what is happening, it has become you. It has become your personality. Remember where we started? It was just for more negative thoughts, and how these things keeps on spiraling and years down the line, decades down the line, we just keep on going down this rabbit hole. And there is no unseen hand doing this to you. There is no village people doing this to you. It just started from thoughts you are having, from the quality of your thoughts. That is where all these things happen. And how do we fix these issues actually? How do we actually hack our brain to get these things going? I've listed a number of activities. We are still going to get into some more deeper ones later in the slides that actually have helped me as a person. How do you fix this? What is your morning ritual like? Remember that auntie we saw some slides ago that wakes up in the morning, alarm goes off at 5, she presses her phone, she meets the same crazy set of people. She just stuck in a vicious cycle of routine behaviors and everything. And before you know what is happening, that is her habit. And a habit is formed between 66 days to 365 days of consistently doing something. So you consistently do that every day. Before you know what is happening, it becomes, there is a definition that says we are creatures of our habits. That means your habits will now start to create you. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Your habits begin to create your reality. It begins to create your future. It now becomes a map for your future. It determines what you do every day. When you see someone that is going places, check out their routine every day. Standard. Like me, for instance, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up around past 5. When my body is really, really tired, around 6, because I sleep very late, especially because of palm of support circle. My routine these days have been really, really interesting. I wake up that morning. There is this prophetic declaration we do in our church, and we listen to it every day of the year. I have my Bluetooth speaker, either my Bluetooth speaker or my AirPods. I use my AirPods when the children are out of the house and probably my husband is working. He works remotely many times, right? And we don't want to disturb each other with all the sound. So I'll plug my AirPods. But when the children are around, I use my Bluetooth speaker. Everywhere I am, I take it with me. I listen to that. That's like 30 minutes. And as I'm listening to it, I'm working. You remember I mentioned once that the power of ebooks, of audiobooks, right? Even when you are sleeping, just leave it playing. If it doesn't stress you, just leave it playing. As you are working, your mind is storing up all those things. So I do that for the video, the audio plays for like 30 minutes while I'm working, getting the children ready, they are eating, I'm bathing them, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? So they are off to school. I eat, I take care of the baby. I have a baby also, like I'm still nursing. Then two older one. The oldest is 5, then a 2-year-old that is almost 3, and then a 1-year-old. No, she's not almost 3. She's 2.5. Yeah. So I take care of the baby. I eat. I listen to my audio books, and I start to work. I can be on my, I have deliverables, I have, maybe because I have a business, I have 2 businesses actually that I run from home. So it's a lot of work. And so before I start my day, I don't even have time to be saying I want to check what is on Instagram. This thing that this person did to me yesterday. I stop myself. I catch myself in those thoughts, right? So that is actually how you can form a habit. You do it consistently every day, the same time, the same place, if possible, right? Before you know what is happening, it understands itself more than you, right? Your body understands it even more than you yourself. And breathing exercises, whenever we are going to go deeper into this later. Whenever you feel stressed about something, you feel you are not good enough, just take deep breaths. Take 6 deep breaths. Take one in and breathe it out as if you are breathing out through a straw. You are activating the reward center of your brain. You are deactivating the stress center of your brain, the stress processing center of your brain, right? Because when you are stressed, blood is drained from your prefrontal cortex and it goes to the amygdala, right? The emotion processing center. And then that one releases cortisol, it releases adrenaline, then you start to misbehave, your body starts to shake, you start to make bad decisions because blood is not flowing to that part of your brain that helps you make decisions. The part of your brain you use for your executive functions, it is not working. That's when they say someone is now behaving like a headless chicken because there is no blood in that place. So when you do your breathing exercises, you rush blood back to where it should be. And when blood goes into that part of your brain, that your prefrontal cortex, it releases hormones like oxytocin, like serotonin, like dopamine. Dopamine is the motivation energy, oxytocin the feel good energy, serotonin feel good energy, and everything. And see those three hormones, don't joke with them. Anything you can do to actually activate these hormones on a daily, please do them. And breathing exercises is a beautiful way to get yourself into that space. Then have a to-do list. If you have a list that this is what I want to achieve today, it is not that time that someone will will call you and start stressing you. Do you know what? I have a gist for you. I don't do gist. I don't have power for gist. So it's even the energy to even say I want to. So there are people that will call you know that this one they don't have anything much to tell me than the same things we have talked about before, right? You remember when we were talking about the subconscious program, the habits, right? Someone broke your heart. The conversation will still circle back to that guy. Like, so you mean after getting married, happily married with children, you still haven't gotten over this guy? Like, how? This guy has moved on with his life. He's living happily with his wife and children. Please do say. And this thing is formed by doing it consistently over time, over time, over time. Before you know what is happening, it has become part of you. It has become part of you. Right? So let's go to the next on our list. That is affirmation. We know those limiting talks, those limiting beliefs we have. I can't do this thing because you don't do this. I can't do this. You can use those things to actually form your affirmation. Remind yourself you are confident, you are enough, you can do this thing, you are beautiful, you are graced for greatness. Anything you set your hands to do, you complete it, you see things through. You write those things down, you play it back to yourself, you feel the feeling, you emote it, right? You visualize these things happening to you. And we are going to go into why many people stop at goal setting and they don't get to achieve their goals. Because people don't teach us how to achieve goals. They just teach us how to set goals. And then you realize, I've been setting it. I remember when I was little, New Year resolutions, every year I used to write it. And then you realize September has come, October has come, your heart is doing kikon. I've not even touched anything. How did we get here? Right? So another step is gratitude. Show gratitude for everything that is happening in your life. Keep a gratitude journal if you can. Me, I don't really do much of physical books. I do more of them. I type most of my things on my laptop. I have sticky notes everywhere. I have notes I keep. What are things you are grateful for? Do you concentrate more on things that are not working than things that are working? What exactly is working for you that you need to be grateful for? Is it the relationships God has put in your life that you are taking for granted. And that takes us to the next point, which is mindfulness. Remember in our the motivational video we saw this morning of Oprah Winfrey, and that's her last few words she said. Those things are really powerful. If you not take anything, just take that. Be mindful, be in the present. Be in the present, feel your breath. I don't take breathing exercises as for granted. But besides that, understand what it means to actually draw breath, to have the opportunity to draw breath. You not draw this breath you are drawing a second time. Most times we are focused on the future, we are focused on our goals, we forget to live in the present. Before you know what is happening, for most of us that are parents, before you know what is happening, you have an empty nest. These children go on to schools and you realize, I was just there pursuing my goals, I was just there chasing clients and everything. I refuse to actually make meaningful relationships and form meaningful bonds with these children. Just today, before the session starts, my son, he likes carrying the baby, right? He's like our babysitter in the house. And after breastfeeding her, he said, "Mommy, come, let me carry her. I want to carry her." And he carried her inside. And before you know what is happening, the baby slept off. And he came back and told me, "Mommy, she's sleeping." I said, "Thank you." I was like, "Kaide, thank you so much. You're such a wonderful big brother." And I was really grateful. And I know it's not, this is what I'm actually grateful. Thank you so much for doing this. Same thing for my husband also. He has been super supportive through this project. In fact, without him, I don't think this project would have even seen the light of day. He's literally been the parent and I'm like his first child, literally carrying the weight so I can deliver. So I can't take credit for saying, I'm such a superwoman. I did everything by myself. I had support. And it's important to consistently show gratitude for anyone that does anything for you, no matter how small they are, right? And that takes us to the next, Kini, the next, what's it called, I want to talk about. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he said something. He says, when you start installing this new program, your brain is no longer a record of the past, but a map of the future. I think we already saw that in that loop we described, right? By the time you decide to form new habits, you decide to be a new person. You start to rewrite that code you've been running for the longest time. Before you know what is happening, it is no longer the past holding you back now, but you are creating your future. And the key point I want us to remember before we go into other parts of the presentation is to shorten the refractory period of an emotional reaction. That is, a refractory period means the time it takes for you to get over a stimuli, for instance, an impact. Like, let's say the time it takes for you to get over a heartbreak, the time it takes for you to get over a betrayal. Many of us linger in that situation for so long, and the brain is naturally hooked on that energy. Many times we actually love that feeling of rejection, we love that feeling of hurt, we love when people hurt us. It cannot be explained. That is how the brain is. And that is why we always want to talk about it. We want to, and this thing will keep on happening. Okay, that enemy that you said is stressing you, God forbid that enemy eventually dies. Do you know that you are going to hook that emotion, that those vices you said that person is doing, those things that you said that person is responsible for, you are going to hook it on another person because you need to justify your addiction for that emotion, for that feeling. Right? And like we have seen, you just keep on spiraling down a hole without realizing it. And then you just check your life 20 years down the line. How did I find myself here? And many times you might not even know it started from a thought. It started from a thought. So the best way to predict your future is to create it. And we're also going to see, just from the thoughts alone, we have seen how we can actually create our thoughts. What thoughts are you firing and wiring in your brain? We mentioned the brain is like a computer. It's made of set of codes and everything. It's a program. So what are the programs? What are the codes you are wiring and firing? For everything that happens to you, right, there are neural pathways that are being formed. I wish there was enough time. I would have actually showed you a video. That was the plan. I actually planned to do that, embed some videos inside this presentation. So we see how these things actually work, how these things are working in our brain. Whatever it is you do over time, you see that neural pathway is forming. Before you know what's happening, it will be so complex that it will be like a maze, like a labyrinth, and it will be so difficult to get out of it. And it all starts from your thoughts. So what behaviors and habits do you want to imbibe from today? Do you want to be a better person? Do you want to be a more productive employee? Do you want to be a better business person that delivers excellence? When they say, this person is the person that did this thing, You can take it to the bank. That people will beat their hands, they will beat their chest for your sake. Pay, this person is a person of value, take it to that person. It all starts from the behaviors and habits we're imbibing. Start by closing your eyes and visualizing and rehearsing those things. When we are talking about setting goals, achieving goals, this is actually the hack. Visualize yourself completing those goals. How will you feel when you actually achieve those things? Feel the feelings. Feel the feelings. In feeling those feelings, like we have explained before, you are activating the reward center of your brain. See, the brain is a motivation machine on its own. It does not even need any external motivation, but we do that so that we can always stay pumped and motivated. But really, when you learn how to visualize these things, you rehearse, you feel the feeling, and you actually commit to working on it, you'll be a highly motivated person and super productive through life. The brain cannot tell the difference between what is real and what you are making up. If you want to think of you are going through a terrible situation and you choose to imagine it as if it is not what is happening, the brain does not know. Before you know what is happening, those hormones are triggered. Before you know what is happening, your prefrontal cortex will just be giving you ideas. Even if you don't have ideas, you just go on Instagram, something that is totally unrelated, no other person is seeing what you are seeing, it will just start connecting. Okay, this is it. Because you have learned how to hack your brain, how to secrete those hormones, how to get them to work. And remember how to get there by visualizing, by rehearsing those things, feeling the feelings, by breathing, doing breathing exercises. Don't forget all that. And your morning routines, your routines generally, the habits you are forming, those are ways you can actually get there. And I'd like to share a few brain hacking strategies that have worked for me personally and I believe are going to work for you. Number one, motivation. I don't joke with motivation. People used to say our problem, the problem of Nigerian youth or youth generally, are motivation speakers. Why are we like this? Why are we lying on these people's head? Why are we lying on these people's head? The things they said you should do, did you do them? Did you do them? So you are so motivated, I can do this thing, I can, okay, go and do it. When are you going to start doing it? And when you listen for motivation, what are you listening for? Is it just the feel good motivation that will just psych you up? What strategies are they sharing? What tactics are they sharing? What tools are they sharing? Right? Those are things you should really, really look out for. And the number two is to emotionalize and feel. Like I mentioned, that is also a way to help you achieve your goals. That's how to help you achieve your goals. Feel those feelings. Feel what it feels like to have, let's say, 10 million naira in your account. Feel what it feels like to be able to afford the lifestyle you desire. Feel what it feels like to be able to to give your children the life you've always wanted to give them, not to spoil them, but to be able to afford the best things of life. Feel what it feels like for your marriage to be the marriage of your dreams. Feel what it feels like to be able to afford those choicest resource centers all over the world. You find yourself in the Maldives. Before you get there, go there in your mind. We said the brain cannot tell the difference between what you are creating, what is happening around you, what is really happening, and what you are making up in your mind. Jacob was able to rewire the DNA, rework the DNA of this flock, and they began to reproduce colored speckled, spotted sheep because he put it in front of them. They kept on seeing it. They kept on seeing it. They kept on seeing it. Before you know what's happening, they became it. We are going to get into that shortly. Then the next step is goal achievement and goal setting. You have set your goals. How are you actually going to achieve all these things? Is these things I mentioned? You emotionalize these things. You feel what it feels to be able to do, to have all these things. You put yourself in that state like, this thing has happened. There's this thing that happens to me whenever I want to go out. I feel stressed before I even leave the house because I've already calculated everything before I leave my house. I've already imagined myself checking Uber rates and the rate is looking so interesting, so annoying, it's raising my blood pressure. I've already imagined how many traffic will be on the way that will make the Uber rate to increase. I've already imagined the sun. I've already imagined this. I've already imagined getting there late and everything. And before I step out of the house, I'm stressed. And when I realize this thing actually, just think of what it will feel like to buy those things you say you want to buy. Let's say you want to go to the market. I want to buy these things for my children for Christmas, for instance. Imagine the looks on their faces. Imagine how their eyes will brighten up when you bring that into the house. It will take away the stress of going through the rigor. And it's because you are paying attention to that emotion. You are paying attention to that problem, and we're going to get to that later, how you can actually flip your emotions. When you go with the end in mind, you think of the result you get and how that will make you feel. It will motivate you. It will activate the reward center of your brain. Remember we said that. It will push blood to the frontal cortex, and it will give you a better experience. You'll be able to come up with better strategies to cope with that situation, with that problem, for instance. And the next strategy is to change the story you're telling yourself. We have said it. You know what you have been telling yourself. You know the lies you have been telling yourself, the excuses you have been telling yourself. There are many things I wanted to do. My favorite excuse has always been, I have 3 children under 5. I don't have a nanny. I still don't have a nanny. I'm still a nursing mother, but I'm still able to do all these things. Even with the excuses I had when I had just my son, or when I had my daughter, I still had those problems. But because I began to shift my attention from them, they began to shrink. Those challenges began to shrink. I'm able to build systems, I'm able to build structures, because I'm no longer focusing attention on my problems. I'm learning how to activate my reward system and beginning to see solutions around me, right? That is a beautiful way to get there. That is a beauty. I cannot overemphasize this. If there is anything you take from what I'm saying today, please let it be that. And number 5, celebrate progress, not perfection. Many times I always say people get their daily dose of imposter syndrome on LinkedIn. You go on LinkedIn and the way this person will just package their profile like this, your heart will be doing kikon. Hey, when will I get to this place? Right? You look at someone's story and you be like, you look at yourself, where am I? What am I doing? Mama, celebrate your progress. You are doing well. No matter how small you think those things are. So far, you are taking motion, you are in motion, you are taking small incremental steps daily. Please celebrate those progress. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said something. He said, if you must crawl, crawl. If you must walk, if you must walk, walk. If you must fly, if you must run, run. If you must fly, fly. By all means, keep moving. Keep moving. Make sure you're doing something every day to take you closer to your dream. Maybe your own goal, like as a stay-at-home mom, for instance, is I want to keep a cleaner home. It's almost difficult, it's almost impossible when you have toddlers around, right? But let's just say that is your own goal. And what are the little things you need to do today? Is it that I need to learn how to involve my children in housekeeping? I need to learn how to manage my time, spend less time on my phone. What are those little things they are doing? I've been celebrating my screen time for some time now, right? And I put it up, I feel good about it. It looks small though, but it is helping my life, right? So those little incremental actions that we need to celebrate them every day. And number 6 is to take deep breaths. Take 6 deep breaths to deactivate the stress response center. I've already explained that before, right? Take 6 deep breaths, and before you know what is happening, you'll be so amazed at how miraculous these things work. It is so impressive. Like, I've seen it work for me. Like, it helps me sleep better. It helps me get over headaches. It helps me solve problems. It helps me calm my nerves. Let's say you want to speak at an event, and I can't tell how many deep breaths I've taken today, because I was really, really nervous about today's presentation. Right? I've been trying to this everything is not working the way I want it to be. God help me. And just takes it, you'll be so calm, everything just be cool. Like, it is a beautiful hack that I cannot do without it every day. And we have already talked about forming new habits and routines. We cannot overemphasize that. Number 8 is to flip negative emotions. Flip negative emotions. There's something that used to happen to me. I realize whenever I'm in the kitchen, when I'm washing plates, that is my spot. That is the hot spot for negative feelings. I don't know. I didn't know how it happened before until I started to reverse engineer, and I saw the root. I said, what? Anytime I'm washing plates, that is when I'll remember someone that was so conniving, someone that did me dirty, someone that betrayed me, someone that told lies about me. And I'll be so angry, and just angry. Until I say, wait, so why is it that anytime I'm washing plates, that is when this thing used to happen to me? Until one day I was able to finally reverse engineer the thing, reverse till I got to the very root of it. That habit actually formed. That is how I developed that subconscious program of always getting angry when I'm washing plates. And you know, Subconscious programs are formed through experiences, through emotions, and through repetition. You put yourself through this experience over time, before you know what is happening. It becomes a part of you. You just run on a subconscious program. And when I'm washing plates, I'm always angry. I'm always thinking, why did these people have to do this? That because of your addiction for that emotion, for that rush of energy to your brain, you will project those same issues to someone else. When that person is finally out of your life, trust me, you still find someone else to pin that thing on. So you have to justify that pain with you because you love that pain. Because that's why you keep on talking about it. You keep on revisiting it over and over and over. Right? So when I realized, okay, this is what is going on here. I get you, devil. I get what you're trying to do here. You're not going to make me an angry woman. Because before you know what's happening, it will affect your relationship with your spouse, affect your relationship with your children. You cannot be productive because you keep on activating the stress center of your brain. You keep on activating the stress response center of your brain. Blood will flush out from your prefrontal cortex and it will go to your amygdala, and you start to get angry. Cortisol is pumped into your body on a regular. Adrenaline is pumped into your body. You cannot think right. You are making mistakes. You are angry. Before you know what is happening, you remember what we talked about, the thoughts. And then you allow the thoughts go on for long. It will affect your choice. It will affect your behavior. It will affect your experience. It will affect your environment, right? And it will affect your emotion. And then you keep on spiraling down that hole till it becomes your personality finally. And then you become someone that whines naturally, someone that is always seeing negative things out of everything. You don't think of the best. It's always the worst you're thinking of. That's how you just keep on spiraling down that hole. And how did that flip that emotion? When I realized that was the problem going on, actually, when I realized that was it, thank you, Funke. I just saw the message on the group. When I realized that is what was going on, how did I flip that emotion? I began to smile. I'm someone that smiles a lot, and I think it helps me hack my brain. So my brain is regularly being reset on a regular, right? And I'll just be smiling. So when that emotion, that negative emotion comes up, this person hurt me. Let me call my sister to rant again. Let me call my friend to rant again. Let me call my husband to rant again. My husband don't even the day for that kind of conversation normally. My mom, the day for that kind of conversation normally, right? So I now began to smile. I began to smile because I read somewhere you can actually flip your emotion. You can flip anger, you can flip hurt by simply smiling. And when you smile, what do you think you are doing? You are activating the reward center of your brain. Remember, you are releasing hormones like oxytocin, you are releasing hormones like serotonin, you are releasing dopamine into your body. So your body is in a constant, your brain is in a constant flood of all these beautiful emotions. Tell me, why will good things not happen to you? Why will people not even like you? But because you're always thinking strong thoughts, your eyes are always strong, your body is always wound up tight, right? You cannot solve your problems. Your problems are always looking bigger than you. You have these limiting beliefs. You have these stories you have been telling yourself. You have these excuses you have been telling yourself for the longest time that have been holding you down. So it is time to actually let go of all these hurts. Let go of all these feelings. Shorten the refractory time of your emotional response to any pain and move on. If someone is causing you pain, if it means you letting the person go, it is totally fine. So that you be in a perpetual state of bliss, so that your life will be better, your children will enjoy, your spouse will enjoy. So that is that. And there's one story I like to leave us with. It's the story of the oyster, how the pearl is formed. An oyster is a sea creature, right? It opens up like this normally. And how does it form the pearl? The pearl is actually a grain of sand that gets stuck in the oyster. That grain of sand is really painful for the oyster. It is really, really uncomfortable. But instead of the oyster crying and complaining and looking for who is going to help it remove it, what does it do instead? It begins to spin a substance around it called the lacquer. It spins a substance around that sand over time. Over this thing takes years, and that is how a pearl is formed. Something that was meant to cause pain, something that was meant to cause distortion in your life, ended up being a thing of beauty that everybody wants to buy. And it's a rarity. Most of the pearls you see out there are actually commercialized. They are commercially produced. When you see the actual pearl, they cost a fortune, and only a few people can actually afford them. So anytime I remember the story of the pearl, it helps me to flip any negative situation. I ask myself, what is there for me to learn and what is there for me to bear? For everything meaningful I've done, they came from a place of pain. Palm Mom Support Circle came from a place of pain, right? And in me flipping that emotion, flipping that experience, I was able to birth something beautiful, something great that is not only for me alone, but for people around me. But imagine I decided to stick to that emotion, that painful experience. This person did this thing to me, this person did that to me. I'll never be able to get past that experience. And the ninth strategy, we are almost at the end of the presentation now. The ninth strategy is to visualize. Have a vision board. Have a vision board, have an accomplishment board, and place them everywhere. You prime your brain. Like I was talking about how Jacob was able to rewire the DNA of these animals. And they started reproducing. The law of nature is you produce after your kind, right? These guys are not producing after their own kind. They started to defy nature. And that is what happens when you keep your vision in front of you. Right? Everything we are saying here is just corroborating what the Bible has already told us. Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And the gateways to your heart are your eyes. What are you allowing? What are you seeing? What are you allowing to get into your ears? What are the things you're allowing to get into your space? Right? So when you put these things everywhere, it is called priming. It's called priming. You are priming your brain. You are reculturing your brain. You are hacking your brain. You are kind of molding your brain to what you want it to be. And after all these things you have talked about, if you refuse to take action, I could have just said, like my pastor will say, I could have just been saying, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder. Take small incremental action towards your goals. Break your goals into smaller steps. What are the little steps I can be doing to actually make these things achievable in the nearest future, and say in the next 3 months? Let's say, for instance, I want to improve my children's academic performance by 70% in the next 3 months. This next time we are entering, my children's brain has to be super charged. They have to be operating at genius level. What do you want to do? Are you planning to maybe set up a meeting or a call with the teacher every week? So how is my child performing today? What are the things he or she is struggling with? My daughter just started school, so I make sure I always ask her teacher every day I go to pick her. So how is she doing today? She's still withdrawn, or she's not talking to anybody. When I get home, when you see your teacher, you see Mr. Woite, you give her a big hug, super tight hug, right? Tell her I love you. When they ask you a question, you respond. And truly, my son came back, he said, my wife gave Mrs. Awoyite a hug. And the teacher said, she has been really responding, she has really been responding in class. That's just a small action I took. And when a child's confidence is boosted, it will improve their performance. Are you thinking of, probably, I want to cut down their screen time? I won't go into how this screen time is actually affecting their brain and development. Right? Because children learn by moving around. They learn by disturbing. That is actually how you even discover their potential. But you always keep them sedated. You give them the tab. Let me have some time to myself. I beg, I can't stress. I understand how stressful it can be when these children are whining in your head. It can be a lot. It can be a lot. So maybe you want to cut down their screen time and instead introduce them to more educational content. Coco Melon is destroying your child's brain. My children don't watch Coco Melon. They don't watch. They used to watch it before, but I stopped them. Most of this content out there was one time like that I talked about it on my status. I'm not going to go into all that, but they are not helping your children. You see those fast cut videos, those colorful videos, everything just shaking, they are singing. They are not preparing them for reality. And these fast cut videos are actually distorting their mental development because they are too fast. It keeps them hooked and hooked and hooked, and it actually induces ADHD in children. Because if something is not fast paced, the activity is not hyper, they cannot focus, they cannot stay still, they cannot wait in line, they cannot wait their turn. Because they are used to fast motion, singing, colors, everything is just bubbling. They are highly stimulating. They are highly stimulating. They are daily releasing hormones, dopamines, that is too much for their brain to handle. So they are highly destructive. Or maybe you yourself, you want to cut down on your own screen time, right? Maybe I want to cut down my goal for this year is that I want to be spending less than 5 hours on my screen. And recently I've been doing it. So where do those time actually go into? Do you want to improve your time? You want to be spending more time with your children? You want to give them more outdoor experience? They conducted a test in my children's school, this week, 2 weeks ago, and they realized 90% of them were actually recommended to get correctional glasses. To get correctional glasses. And then the school said, the school nurse said they should increase their fruit intake, help them get healthy food, this, and that. Yes, those things are true, but many times, actually, this screen time affecting these children's eyes. And a parent said something that was really valid on the platform. She said, I talked about screen time, and she said, aside, in addition to that, they are not exposed to outdoors, so they have not been able to develop far vision. I said, God have mercy. When we were growing up, we grew up in the streets. We grew up in the estate. We could run around, blow tire, stay on the bicycle for the kind of, depends on the kind of childhood you had. We went on holidays, but now they're always indoors. They're always in front of their tab. Their tab is just how many centimeters away from their eyes. They are not able to develop far vision. And these things are really affecting. So these are the small incremental action. I'm not saying that I want my son to be a genius. So today we are going to pack books. You are going to read these books there. You are going to read 20 books. Small incremental action. That is actually how you can activate the reward center of your brain. When you show your brain a very huge task to do, it shuts down. But tell it, okay, let us do this small thing. This small thing, let us do it. I cut my screen time. I'm able to spend more time with the children. And spending 3 hours that I cut from maybe my regular 8 or 9 hours, like more like I'm just pressing phone for all my waking hours. What is that? Although I work on social media anyway, so that's what adds to it, right? But in cutting those screen time, those extra 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours here, I can actually put it into forming better bonds with my children. But when you're always giving them tabs, they don't even know how to, they just grow up, they don't have any relationship with you. They don't have any relationship with their siblings. And then everybody grows up. They're not checking up on mommy, they're not checking up on daddy because they've never been used to you. They've never been used to you giving them attention. It is this tab they know. And these guys that are shaping this culture, they know what they are doing. They are raising a crop of generation that will be solely hooked on technology that they cannot do without it. And they are trying to create hey God, if you know the diseases these people are actually culturing, they are cultivating by all these gadgets, or by all this content you're exposing these children to, neurological disorders they are trying to nurture from childhood, ideas they are trying to expose, they are planting into their heads. LGBTQ is in almost every content now. You have to go through to be sure, even the ones you have watched before that you are sure. If they don't promote LGBTQ, these guys don't get funding. So before they watch any content, you give them phone, do you know how many they watch? Do you know how many you give them tab? Do you know how many contents they watch in the space of the how many hours they watch? You don't even know if they've been watching LGBTQ. These guys know what they are doing. The pharmaceutical companies are also doing their own. They are working overtime. The devil is working overtime. And we have to be very intentional. We have to take charge by taking those small incremental actions. And none of these things will work if you actually don't work on them, if you don't start implementing what we have learned so far. So I've come to the end of my presentation. I hope I was able to say something that helps someone today. So quick one, 5 quick steps you can actually use to 10x your productivity. Again, identify limiting beliefs, replace them with empowering thoughts, visualize success, take consistent action, review and adjust. Thank you all so much once again for listening to me. I hope you take this skill to start hacking your brain today and 10x your productivity in all areas of your life. Thank you so much. I've come to the end of my presentation and I'll be glad to take your questions.
Yay! Thank you. That was an amazing one. You said so much. From hacking your brain to even how we raise our children, screen time issues. There's a lot I've taken down myself. Yes, very insightful. Very, very insightful. Thank you. And thank you so much. From the very beginning to this point, it's been amazing. These are things that you have to pay to learn or take the time to do the research. And I mean, you would only do research on what you intend to learn. Some things we have learned here, we didn't even think about them. We didn't plan for it. We didn't know we needed them. So thank you so much for that. At this point, if you have any questions, put them down in the comment section or unmute and ask your questions very quickly. Yes.
So my question is, I've tried it before, but I don't even know what happened along the line. And it's about using your phone first thing in the morning.
Mm.
Is it has really been because I noticed that anytime I press my phone first thing in the morning, that day is not always very productive, except I just really discipline myself to say no, today. But sometimes even the NEPA, everything like that around are not just helping the situation. So I just have to stay glued to that phone. And even sometimes I don't give my children the attention they needed because I'll just be glued to it. And at the end of the day, I'll ask myself, okay, what productive something have I done? And funny enough, I would have some productive things that I should do. But at the end of the day, I won't even do them. I will just be scrolling the street of Instagram. Despite the fact that I even set a limit for myself, like I set 2 hours daily limit for myself on Instagram because I have to post, still do some other things because my store is like an online store. So then after Instagram just notify me that my 2 hours is gone. Sometimes in the morning, as early as 11, I'll just be like, so I've actually spent 2 hours on Instagram today, just today.
Very easy.
And I won't even at the end of the day, sometimes I spend 5 hours on Instagram alone. So I don't how can I want to stop it because one, sometimes it's not making me reach my productivity for the day. So many things I'll just carry it over. Sometimes I'll say, today I'll apply for grants, this. You will not believe that I will procrastinate till how
The
will I say
deadline.
it?
Last minute.
Till the deadline, and I will still not apply for those grants. So I don't know. I really want to stop this thing. And there was one time I told my husband that I'll be sending my to-do lists to him every day. And when he gets back, he must make sure to ask me that have I done it? This is it. But Baba sometimes is just a quiet person. Don't beat yourself too hard. Don't beat yourself too hard. Though he complains about the phone too, yeah, but I don't know. I've even read books but it's not just what is me, I will not lie. That's the question, and that's why I said it will not be sweet if I put it in the chat
That's a very
box.
wonderful question. In fact,
That's a question.
it's something I battle with personally. Me, I set my phone to go off by 10 p.m. Truly and truly, beloved of God, with my hand, I will undo the lock and I'll be on the phone. I can be on the phone till past 12. So we can tell you, there are tools you can actually use that will turn it with my hand. I'll deactivate it. I set it at 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, this phone will go off. I will put it on by myself again because I've formed that habit.
Brain needs
So, yes, there needs to be hacked. So there's something I did at the beginning of this year that actually moved the needle for me. And yes, accountability partner system is really good. But many times it is you outsourcing your motivation until you decide to do that work yourself, to not do it self. And if you have something, a goal that you have set that is keeping you motivated, keeping you on your feet, I tell you it will happen. You might not get it perfectly the first time the first 2 months you might mess up the first 3 months you might mess up but just stick to it. So I got this app called the Commit app, and the job of the Commit app is actually it's like a to-do list. You have to commit to this is what I want to be doing, and it is to be reminding you I'm to call mommy my mom at this time of the week, because if I don't call her, I'm in trouble. She will just come and start saying nonsense and everything. That she's always the one calling. I don't remember to call. At the beginning of this year, I was teaching a neighbor. Okay, I used to make bags, handmade bags. So my neighbor begged me to teach her daughter how to make bags. I scheduled it. So I think I was doing once a week or 2 times a week to teach her how to make bags. And if you see the bags she made during this period, they're so beautiful. You do not believe that she made them herself. She's a Gen Z, and I really love it. I love Gen Zs are very, very entrepreneurial. So I taught her how to make the bags. I set it there. That this time of the Kimio, so time of the week, I'll teach this girl how to make bag. I put it there. My daughter's hair, I've not been doing so well. I want her to be having fine hair. This time of the week, I want to make her hair. Laundry, it could be something as simple, like I say, small incremental actions. Have a to-do list. When you achieve those things, I said the brain is like a motivation machine itself. You do that, it feeds off those little activities, those little things you're able to achieve. Aside the breathing exercise I talked about, visualization and everything, committing to actually doing this small incremental action. The brain, there's nothing the brain loves more than that. But when you are setting, I don't want to do more than Kinikon, I want to do 50 something percent, I want to improve my productivity by something percent. The brain does not understand what you are saying. But break it down into small steps and actually committing to it. And what you will do, there's something called, you replace that habit. You know that you are normally susceptible to press phone at this time of the morning. And when you wake up in the morning, you press phone. Don't put your phone near you again. I switch off my phone. As a matter of fact, you know it is very harmful to keep phones around you and the children when you are sleeping. It's highly dangerous. So I keep the phone out of arm's reach. I remember when extra cool was raining, me, you cannot call me extra cool and you meet me. For possible, I didn't used to do it because I value my sleep. I don't sleep so easily. So when I eventually sleep, you now come and stress me. There was one guy like that I met one time, and he was telling me when I was going for NYC then that he'll be calling me every morning, 5 o'clock, when he's going for work. Me, I'll be praying for him. Am I your mommy? Me? I'm not your mommy. Don't come and ruin my sleep. You cannot even meet it on. My phone is off. So when I wake up in the morning, I know I have to get the kids ready. I don't have time to be pressing phone. Or maybe you wake up too early. So when you wake up too early, you have time to be saying, okay, I can still chill around. Me, that when I wake up, I'm already running around. You cannot have time to be pressing phone. And maybe when you have a laptop, and it depends on the kind of work you do. If you work a lot on your laptop, I've been working a lot on my laptop, and it's more about productive work, productive work, productive. So I don't have time to be checking on who is doing what now. On Instagram, I left my account on Power Month. That is one thing that helped me to avoid content I get easily hooked on. If I'm on my personal account, I have addictive, in fact, it's even more of ready writer means. I have many content creators I'm following that we are following each other, and I'll be laughing for 2 hours. I've not done anything useful in my life. So I left that place. You might need to unfollow some people on Instagram that you know that they are really affecting you. And the more you check their, or you stop going to your explore page, do you get? You will know what works for you. Many times you say, this person should, you are outsourcing your motivation. Don't do that. Telling your husband, my husband will tell me, you're beating yourself up too much. You're doing a lot. Don't that's what they'll tell you. But you know in your heart that you can do more, you can be better, you can be more, you can push yourself harder. So always telling them, be my accountability. You're not yet ready. Do you get? But actually committing to these small little actions. Maybe I'll not be putting if you have another account, right? Maybe apart from your business account, your most active account, create another account that you know see content that you can easily get hooked on. Stay on that account. That has helped. I've not gone on my personal account. If I go on my personal account already, writer, it's just to check, okay, who sent me messages, reply. I'm back to Power Month because I don't want anything to take my focus. Right? So you know those little things that easily beset you. The Bible says, let us set aside all those things that easily beset us. Do you get? So you know all those little things, that those little foxes that are spoiling your vine, right? Nobody will do the work for you. But just commit to taking small incremental action every day. And slowly but surely, my sister, you'll get there. I set that goal this year, and I didn't start achieving them until 3 months ago, right? but once you actually commit to doing them. And I said, replace those habits. Find something actually you are going to be doing to take your time. If you don't do it, nature hates vacuum. It will always give you something to do. And now Instagram, social media have become an easy replacement. So find a healthy replacement for all those habits, and slowly but surely you get there.
Fantastic. The last thing you said, find a healthy replacement. That's one thing that has run through everything you said.
Yes.
Said that you should flip your negative emotions.
Yes.
Replace them with affirmations, right?
Yes.
It also applies to developing habits. Replacing the habits you don't want with good, because your mind, you actually created those experiences you have by what you have programmed your mind.
Yes.
By the little actions you did over time, repeatedly.
Yes. Yes.
And you can't just strip them off. You have
Exactly.
to replace them
You're now
little actions like that. So for
Yes.
me, I wake up in the morning, pick my phone. Instead of, I know that, okay, I'm going to pick this phone anyway.
Yeah.
So now, the first thing I do is I want to replace what I'm doing on that phone. I start with that. And I tell myself, okay, for 5 minutes, instead of going to Instagram, instead of going to WhatsApp, instead of going to, what's the positive action that I can flip it to? I can maybe open my Bible app.
Exactly.
So I do that. I pick it up and I say, okay.
The audio version.
Do you understand? Or audio version. So I flip that negative action that I don't want to do into a positive one. And so before you know it, when that becomes a habit, and of course, you probably won't even do that thing for 1 hour anyway.
Exactly.
Once you read your Bible, you don't sit down and read your Bible for 10 hours now.
Yes.
Do that, replace it with that positive thing. Then you move on to other things. Before you know it, you remember that, okay, wait, if I don't start cooking by 4:30,
exactly.
and all those things. So there are some actions you do that you can't do for too long. These are the things that you're even trying to struggle to do. So replace them with those actions.
If it means you're waking up too early to be able to have enough time to be pressing phone, maybe you just use that time to sleep. So let's say you wake up 4:30 and that 1 hour is easy to press phone. Is it not better to cuckoo sleep? And wake up 5:30 like a normal person?
So that's the thing. It's a habit. So your brain is telling you need to do it. You need to do it. So if you are going to do it anyway, why not flip that action with a positive,
listen to motivation,
with something else that will be better. After a while, it will gradually fizzle out.
Yes.
Fantastic questions. We all deal with these things.
Get a balancer phone as a second phone. Once you are done with your 2 hours on IG or on your smartphone, switch to Palasa. That's a very good, that's a very good idea. Do you get?
That's one strategy.
Yeah.
And someone says, read Atomic Habits. Yes, fantastic. Yes. I have read that. Yeah.
Yes. I sent the audio version to the group. And there's also this book I want us to read. It is called Miracle Morning. See this book, it will help your life. It will see the books I read. Normally, I love to read normally, but after I became a mother, these past few weeks have been really intense for me. I've lost a lot of weight and I need to relax myself. The books are read during this period. I'm going to share the audio version. It's like 30 minutes, and if you use the hack I talked about, you use that play speed, that fast forward, you'll be done in half the time. It will tell you what you should do in the morning, like what you should do in the morning. And hydration, please drink water. Drink water. It's important to drink water. Me now, my bottle of water is always here. I'm a nursing mother. I have to stay hydrated. Your brain needs water, and your brain needs rest. Self-care, eat well. If not, it will not work. When you overdo it, like I know I've overused my brain. That's why I need to take some time to actually pull out the plugs and relax. I need just a period of time. So self-care is important. If your brain is not well rested, no matter the hacking you can hack it, it will get to a point. It's like a laptop, a system that is overused. It will run down. It will shut down. It will have burnout. And that's how we experience burnout. That's actually what's happening with burnout. So self-care is important.
Absolutely. And also remember that change takes time. For the the person who asked the question. I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Who asked the question? Was it Funke?
Yes,
it was Funke. Oh, okay, Funke. It takes time. So celebrate. You said it as well. Celebrate the little wins. I mean, today you're able to do 5 minutes of something that wasn't Instagram, that wasn't pressing you. Absolutely. And then one thing that also helped me, even though it's not like for a while, it may not be consistent, but by replacing some of the addictive apps with maybe apps like Headway that help you to read a book. It breaks down the book for you into like 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, into small chunks.
Nice.
You can do that. You can replace your, even if it's that you like to watch videos, maybe you can replace Netflix with a YouTube subscription and only watch positive podcasts or things like that. That also helps. And after a while, you may still, tweak it. You keep tweaking it as you go along. Thank you so much. So this is our final session.
I'm so happy it's finally and it's been so much. Thank you, everyone.
Well done. Let's give Arinola a clap now. Unmute and do something good.
Officially ended our webinars, right? The group will still be left open for those that want to still, because there was one program we're meant to be doing, that tribe night. That was like it's a major program in Palm Support Circle, right? But it's been a lot. We can't just squeeze all these activities in 8 weeks. So like I said, let us let this program breathe a little. So we still have so many impactful programs. We have many of the speakers that promise to come to do a repeat. And we also have our hands-on training we're still yet to do. So it's your certificate. We'll get our certificates also, right? And it's just a wonderful experience, really. So if you still want to stick around with us, you're free to do so. If you want to leave, it's not a secret cult. Everybody's free to leave whenever they're tired. They think they've got right. But in our handbook, you see where we have our goals and metrics. It will be important to measure our progress per time, and we can't do that if we've left the community. So if you actually want to be part of this transformation course, it goes beyond the 8 weeks. Please stick around with us. But if you think you've had enough and you want to, it's still part of prioritizing anyways. If you are not priority, it's fine, and you have other things on your plate you need to clear your desk first. It's also fine to exit at any point. So thank you all. Thank you once again. We've come to the end of today's session. It's goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Ariola. Bye.
We rise, we shine today. Together we pave the way. Breaking fears, breaking chains. Strength in numbers we aim. Skills we build, we grow. Upscale every flow. Talents, pride we showcase. In the space we find grace. Support circle, we stand tall. Women power, breaking walls. No quotas, just pure might. Shining through every fight. As we sway, every skill, every art, together we make a mark. Breaking norms, breaking seals, true power we reveal. Not just numbers on the board, but talent finally roared. Support circle, we stand tall. Women power, breaking walls. No quotas, just pure might. Shining through every fight. As we sway, every skill, every art, together we make our mark. Breaking norms, breaking seals, true power we reveal. Not just numbers on the board, but talent finally roared. Support circle, we stand tall. Women power, breaking walls. every fight.